You're so what?
I'm sewing.
What you making, Cookie?
I'm putting the binding on this baby quilt.
Oh.
It's got robots on it.
Robots.
In disguise? Oh, no, not in disguise.
Well, they will be if she moves it slightly to the green screen.
True.
But I do this during meetings because I have a hard time not web surfing during a meeting.
I just
Throw it
web
in the
surf.
air, it'd be
I can listen.
robots in disguise.
So, welcome. We're currently missing one player. I won't say any names.
Missing.
You can maybe surmise from the giant void of black darkness that is the spot.
I won't be able to tell.
Yep. So,
I do like the fact that I'm Kadia now.
Who do you?
Oh. Can we see Dora's Kadia?
Doria?
I tried to say I tried to say Kadia's name at the same time as Dora's name. That's the way it came out.
Duradia.
all right. Let's have a competition. You all have to pick one of the characters from the campaign and do your best impersonation of them.
What flavor of Doritos are you?
Ranch. Cool Ranch all the way.
Doritos are gross.
Oh, get out. What are you, a bugle? Get out.
Let's see.
Combo. Sorry,
Wait,
I thought we were...
combos?
I don't know what that
Doritos.
means.
You never had a combo?
Burritos.
I like burritos.
Burritos are good.
You know, there's a Taco Bell commercial on my Twitch, so I thought that's...
Oh.
Where's the burrito? There's...
Is it listening to us?
No, because it's showing one of those made-up word products they had, like the chalupa Reno or whatever. Okay.
Cool.
Do an impression of someone from the campaign.
Wait, why is... Never mind. I don't know.
You rolled a 5.
I did. I thought we were. I didn't know if we were rolling initiative for a game. I just wanted
Well,
to
you
roll
go
dice.
first because nobody else rolled anything.
I know.
All right,
I
your
know.
best impersonation of a character from the campaign.
My name is Kadia, and this boat means something.
Oh yeah. I was trying to remember Dima, and I couldn't.
Oh, Dima.
It's been a while. It's my daughter.
Bones.
Yes, she'll make. That'll be good to make.
What
the
a
skull.
lovely head you have. I don't remember what Diva's voice was.
I don't either.
Living for Casey's expression right now.
These are all great.
See, I remember Dima for her actions.
The loving
Alright.
mother that you slaughtered.
Yeah, I did. As I was disguised as her too, which
Yeah.
was also a point that was really lovely.
It's good to send people into an existential crisis right before they die.
Yeah.
It helps with the ghost creation process.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I just thought of the best idea for a gothic horror campaign.
Oh,
Ultra Christ?
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't have Dima come back.
Oh, I started listening to this podcast called Old Gods of Appalachia. I feel like you'd really like it. It's very like creepy horror.
Are you getting paid to advertise with them?
No.
Is it by Kevin MacLeod?
No.
My ears won't be able to hear it. I had a surgery that makes it only so my ears can only hear things by Kevin MacLeod.
Gotcha.
What?
That must have been
good thing
quite-
Kevin MacLeod did my voice.
Yeah, he's really
I am programmed by
versatile.
Kevin MacLeod. Wow.
All right, chat. Let's have a contest. Type exclamation point raffle into chat.
Do it!
Um,
I want to see what's going to happen.
You know, I think Anand did the best impression.
Anon nailed it. That is
Yeah.
literally what my note is. Ruffles.
Wings
with ridges.
sparkle.
We could have had Kayla play Chad the Voluptuous.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Well,
Who's suddenly missing a family member?
where's my wife?
This is the hat. This is the hat. Don't you know what it means? No.
We're doing great. Thanks, everyone.
What happened last Thursday, by the way?
I don't remember. I don't remember what happened last Monday either, because that's what I thought you were asking.
I don't remember what
I'm
happened
a little
this morning.
hazy about 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I'll ask later. You know who I'll ask? I'll ask Kayla.
Oh, that's good. You'll get all the information that way.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna do, maybe we'll do like a flashback episode. Just all of the unused footage from our previous scripted episodes. Hey, Ziliana and Katie, do that scene that you had that we ended up cutting because of its irrelevance.
Okay, so you're gonna teach
Didn't
me
think
yoga.
this
and
was gonna be
meditation,
hard to do.
And
Yeah. So I need to talk to you about what's going to happen after I pay off my debt.
oh, what's that? Something special? Or are we gonna have a party?
Oh, a very modest party.
Will
What?
there be drugs? Because it's been a while, like a couple days, maybe a week, 2 weeks. Sorry.
I mean,
These are revelations about Katie as character that I do not know how to process.
I only,
Adult content
what?
warning.
I'm just saying that like, I might not need to work for you anymore.
Oh,
Never again, you slave driving.
that's all right. You know what? That's okay because at the school they're like trying to teach me this how to conjure like this servant, and I didn't do it because I know that you needed like money and stuff. So I was like, oh no, I don't even know how to do that because then what would I pay Ziliana for?
Right. And now we're friends, and this whole payment thing feels weird.
It kind of does. Oh,
Yeah.
plus I'm not getting an allowance anymore for like a year.
That's really
Oh.
bad. But we're earning money on our own now.
I
Katie,
just,
we're working.
I just thought of a really good idea.
I like this cutscene that we're having.
Yeah.
This is
I
good.
took it seriously.
I did too.
We should just go to a map and like put Vela Breeze on there and have you all be like in combat and just have Gruthgal like dead.
Yes, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it.
Is Grithcole watching the stream?
Yeah, that's the only
Yeah.
problem.
I'm
Then
just
she'll
kidding.
never know it. It's because just be a surprise.
that just made me warm.
All right, so how about that other lost scene blooper reel when Aurelia tries to adopt the ferret dog and Doran Geos convinces her instead to invest in real estate.
Please.
Wow, are you crossing
I,
campaigns?
I feel like I should at least be playing Tupper, and he's the one who exists in this universe.
Just saying at halftime during a Dracora ball game, you can't just pick up stray weasel dogs. Wait, what?
Well, no, actually, the Weasel Dog is a traditional part of the Dracora Ball game at halftime.
That's been
3 of
illegal
them are
for
put into a
centuries, and you know
box,
why.
And then the box is brought into the center of the field.
No,
No, it was recently legalized
Right.
after a strident campaign.
Suspending a dog in foam in a box is not correct.
Well, but they eat the foam.
Well, they are weasels, yes.
Yeah, it's good for them.
I need more whiskey.
Yeah,
And
it's
just like that, we've expanded the canon of Dracora Ball.
it's weird that that scene was cut, but we actually received a summons from the Union of Weasel Dogs, who didn't like the way it portrayed them as lazy and largely encased in foam.
Also, PETA sent us like 3 cease and desist letters.
It's a stereotype that we don't seek to perpetuate, but we will. Cool.
On that note, I'm gonna get more whiskey.
So, it's going to be one of those episodes, which is a normal episode for us. Why don't we all go make a drink and come back? You don't have to do that. I'm just going to do that. I'll be back in a while. Let me know. Thank God I didn't spend hours preparing anything for tonight's session.
Actually, I'm also gonna get a beer.
But quick, Dora, restart your connection first.
Wait, why?
Because doesn't that kill Casey's connection?
Oh, that's so mean. You just want to go to sleep.
Actually, I'm now in the state of I'm still super tired, but I'm not sleepy. I'm just lethargic, which is my normal state, actually. I feel like a Jabberwock sort of fellow.
What?
What?
Breathing, it'll energize you.
Something will energize you.
No, food energizes you. Calories.
Breath also energizes you.
There we go. Breathing. Okay, let's do some breathing exercises. First,
I've gotten in trouble for breathing too close to people. That's not the right thing to do.
yeah, but we're on the internet, so it's okay.
I
So
don't have
first,
my mask on.
Well, I don't know.
really just don't want to do this, but I want to take one deep breath in, and then let it out. Yep, that's exactly how.
I used to teach llamas classes.
Okay, can you explain that?
Yeah,
Holly, don't fall for it. She dug the hole and you're like, whoop, stepped in it like a Looney Tunes character.
that is the best description of Holly ever.
Like,
Cool.
what would your name be as a Looney Tunes character? Like Holly Hand Grenade or something? What?
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Because, you know, like, you're just on a path and then you randomly explode. That fits.
All right, Holly. Somebody said they wanted a musical episode.
Nobody said that, Casey. Stop.
So, I think we should do. Do you remember when we started recording the On the Rise album? When we had Kadia's feature song, I Don't Trust Them, in which she goes through and states the reason why she doesn't trust everyone in the campaign. And we had to cut it because no form of medium was long enough to hold all the contents verses of the song.
All right.
Do you want to give us a few excerpts from that?
Yes. Let's do that.
Alphabetically first, please. All
Yeah.
the names alphabetically.
Oh, I can't do it alphabetically because my list
Because
is
I don't
order
actually know
of-
the alphabet.
Well,
Order of most suspicious to least suspicious. Actually, you know what?
Ooh.
I love it when you reverse it and you give the least suspicious people first.
okay, that's good because this is kind of the way it is. In my, you know,
All right,
you
right,
sing-
do you
can
want
you
any
sing kind of-
background?
The Animaniacs would. Like an Animaniacs song of like who you're suspicious of.
oh gosh, I can't do an Animaniacs version on the fly.
That's okay. Someday.
Well, what do you want? Any like background music? Any particular moods?
How about Zydeco?
Yes, Zydeco.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's okay.
I don't listen
Find
to
something
hip hop.
Upbeat, and it's kind of like hippie
Upbeat?
jungly.
True, you can't see Holly on stream at all, so it's really funny.
Upbeat, hippie, jungly.
Yeah.
All right. So this song by Kevin MacLeod is called "Upbeat Forever." I've never heard this song before, and you're gonna sing to it now.
Okay.
Here we go.
Suddenly, I have to go. I'll be right back. I don't know why.
Okay.
What ska?
All right, hold on.
Excellent.
I gotta turn it up because.
I can turn it up.
Oh, that works. Okay. Oh.
Oh, you missed the verse. We're gonna have to start over again. Okay, wait, hold on. We're gonna start over again. You missed
can't
your.
look at you all while I do this.
It's fine.
I forgot my words.
All right, you
Sorry.
ready? You ready for take
Yes.
2 of this?
Take
Okay.
2. Hold on. Let me take off my sweater.
All right. This is about to get indecent, I guess. All right. Here we go.
Oh god. It's happening.
I did warn you. I did warn you about tonight's content.
Alright, just so you all know, this is all Beth's fault. Okay. I'm ready now.
Can you move to your One Direction slightly? Nope. There we go. Yeah, go over there. Okay, now
What's her
Is this good?
there we go. Yeah.
what's her face? What happened?
All right, we're ready.
Oh no, I closed my notes!
Like forever?
What's
Is it
that?
forever?
I'm not ready. This is exactly how rehearsal happens, okay, guys?
It
People,
is.
places, things. It's open.
Those are nouns.
This is my notes. Okay?
Do you have your notes sorted into like nouns and then adjectives? They just like,
And then you have to
Adjectives.
go in between.
yeah, they cross reference.
Untrustworthy.
All right, here we go. You ready?
Okay.
Mommy may mamu, mommy baby mash my M&Ms. All right. The architect has oddly shaped feet. All right, there we go. Here we go.
What happened?
Turn it up.
Oh my God. This is the thing that's happening.
It's all this Alice
God.
force. I can't do it. I'm gonna have to mute you.
Ready for that? I thought it was
Alright.
all over.
I wonder if you can make it at viewers.
And his assistant, Alice. I can't do it to this music. It's not working.
All
You
right.
can't do proper words with it.
That's what's not working.
Yeah.
That's...
Not the fact that I don't have any words whatsoever.
All right, here we go. You can. We'll go to Vela. Vela will accompany you for this.
Oh no, not
much
Bella.
much more cerebral.
Now Katie is just annoyed. Because, like, she's one of the suspects, but she's not the suspect.
Wait, Katie is the suspect?
It's just not the
What if it's
suspect.
me? What if it's all me?
Ugh.
Wait. Uh-oh. People are
Have to get
posting
into
links now. They
They're-
probably already posted your song as a link.
All right, acapella.
I can't
go.
do it.
Just
I
go
can't.
acapella.
I can't do it. I can't give you my list.
Like ever, or like just in song?
In song, I can't do it.
All right, let's hear it in the form of I don't know, an epic poem. then.
Beat poetry.
Oh, poetry. That is just a song, but not
With
the
music
melody.
and singing.
Wait, do we have to snap our fingers if it's
Yes.
one of those things?
Let's snap our fingers. Do you remember that one time I did the intro and like a...
They'll never line up on the. They're like the sharks and the jets.
Man, I wish I could snap like that. Can't.
Snapping's not for everybody. Only like
It's not.
99% of the people.
Wow!
I can
Okay, well,
clap
that's
really
very good.
loud too, but
I mean, I can clap. I just...
can you clap really loud?
Clap off.
A clapper.
All right.
This is where-
Where are we?
I don't know. All
She
right.
said 15 minutes an hour ago. Come on.
I know. This is
What time? Oh my god, it's already 8:03. All
What
right.
is it? Subverting episode
So-
expectations.
There's Marcellus Widowmaker. He is a clockmaker. He sold us the timepieces. What the fuck?
That's right, Daddy-O.
that's sort of a haiku, I think. All right. All right, so we got one. Marcellus, I don't think you got his last name right, but that's fine.
I wrote it down as Widowmaker.
It's Whitwind, but other than that...
Okay. Well, hold on a second. We gotta correct this in the notes.
Can you
Whitman.
correct every instance, please?
Yep.
I will do that later. Maybe.
All right. So...
All right. Then there's Alistine. I don't think she's a suspect. I'm just naming her because she's in my notes.
That's a suspect.
That's a suspect.
We met her
And there's
once.
Balfour, the nephew, who doesn't learn his lesson. He continues to do the wrong bad thing.
There's the right
He's the
bad thing?
nephew of the clockmaker.
Do I hear insane rambling?
No, you
Oh,
don't.
babe, you've missed so much.
A horn has
This
been
is insane
sounding.
rambling.
This is
and
all
I'm
your
here to
fault.
stop insane ramblings.
This is all your fault.
No, Beth, it's just
It was
not your
singing
fault.
earlier. You missed
It
it.
was singing earlier.
You're innocent, but Casey subjected to us to torture during your absence.
I believe you.
Well, now that
Now that
Beth's
that's over.
here... Cool.
I'm sure that it'll get better now. I'm here.
Did you guys realize that you could have negative viewers?
Oh,
Because we did it.
sorry, everybody. I just couldn't get into the,
Yeah, it was clearly the quality
get
of the
into it.
song that was
yeah,
that was the problem.
that was the problem. It was my bad.
Okay. Let me just put people's videos where they need to be.
Why did you change him? Why am I Dora? What's happening?
You were always.
You were always Dora.
I've always been Dora. I didn't even know.
It's the Dora inside you all along.
I've been extra broody. Now it makes sense.
Yeah. I just put whoever's the most emo when we turn our cameras on into the Dora slot.
That's
Clearly,
fair.
that's me.
Yeah. And it was two more this time.
I have to make my hair long on one side real quick. Hold on.
It has to fall in front of one of your eyes, or else it doesn't
Well,
count.
it's almost.
There you go. Yeah. You got it. Just move your eyes up and you'll be fine. All right. I think that's all of the people in all of the places, aside from Beth, who won't show the faces. Cool. Well, whatever rhythm we had going into this, we're just going to ride that out. Here,
Thank you all for watching.
it's been great. Let's calm things down a little bit here
Oh no.
and move into the intro. All right. Cool. Well,
Like this.
thanks for hanging in there with us through our technical difficulties. They were neither technical nor difficult, but
Well-
here we are.
It might have been difficult.
It was definitely difficult to watch, but not difficult to participate in. So, if you're still here, thank you. If you're not still here, well,
Well, you can't hear this, so
yeah, it's true. All these things are true. Yeah, I'm just gonna rearrange windows here while we think about what we've done.
I don't want to think about what I've done.
It's clear. That's pretty much standard operating for you. All right, let's just readjust some stuff here.
This first 25% of our stream is dedicated to how we move windows around.
Yeah. Cool. So we had an episode last Monday. I'll be darned if I even remember what I did 15 minutes ago at this point in my life. Holly has erased most of my short-term memories somehow.
Yay!
It's
I'm mad.
It's probably for the best. So, why don't you, the shining beacons of hope in my life, the cast, help me recount. What did we do last time? It all started out in front of the gate to Trelmarn Kesh's estate. And in you went. For a dinner party. You were the invited guests. I guess I do remember exactly what happened last time, so I'm just going to continue narrating if that's okay with everybody. Whereupon you met another person who was also, hanging out at the Trelmar and Kesh place, his estate. I don't remember who you met.
Peter Griffin.
Peter Griffin. No, that is incorrect.
Alcerian.
Alcerian Bonapold. That is correct. 10 points to Gryffindor.
There was a
No.
Griffin.
I'm a Hufflepuff.
I
His name
know.
was Peter.
Okay. Alcerian Bonapold, also known as the Purveyor of Marvels, the renowned inventor extraordinaire who is going to be presenting her work at the festival coming up in not but a few days. The festival of the Falling Star, Rising Star. I don't remember what it's called anymore. Wandering Star. I was wondering what the
Some
correct
sort of
name
gerund.
was. Yeah. The skiing
World Star.
World Star. Home Star runner. So she was there, and you talked to her and got some more information about her work, including some perhaps sinisterly foreshadowing facts, which include Holly, take it away.
Oh God. Okay. She's an inventor, a creator of marvels. She's doing something big at the festival, which you just heard about, the Wandering Star. She's not dressed for company, because that's important. She's not from Vesuar. She has been funded by Trelmarn to do this little invention of hers for many years. Her sole contributor, by the way. This is her first time in the Empire. The something spark. I don't remember how you pronounce this. Ani Spark? On Spark?
Ani Spark.
Ani Spark. I didn't think that was correct. But it's correct. She forged it in Dovrock, which was her last location. That's pretty much all you're gonna get out of me because my questions to her were very pointed. So that's all I got.
All right. Well, after the conversation that clearly yielded none of the insightful exposition that I was hoping last time,
it brings a sense of wonder to any location.
Yep.
To your home, and your home to sense of wonder.
I have
Well,
more
when you
concrete
say
facts.
when you say it that aggressively, it doesn't sound nearly as nice. But, Dora. No, you're done. Shh.
All right. Okay.
Trelmarn is sponsoring her in the creation of the Ori, which does all of the things that Holly just said by connecting different or allowing places on the material plane to see into other planes, opening doors or thinning barriers in ways that we don't really understand. But he is the patron of it after encouraging her to continue working on it after apparently, at least as far as she is concerned, this prototype, when it was first, when she kind of first turned it on, may have caused the Tajaknor calamity, where a whole bunch of people died. And
Which doesn't
Trelmarn
sound so
apparently
bad.
said, it's probably not. It just keep doing things. It'll probably be fine. And so she did. And now she's gonna debut the completed invention at the Festival of the Wandering Star.
And then what happened?
Trelmarn had a griffin.
And then what happened?
We fell in love with him forever and always.
No.
Trollmarn or the
Trelmarn
Griffin?
Either one.
And then what happened?
Both is good.
All right. And then that was it. That was all that happened there. There was definitely no solicitation for assassinations or anything like that. And then I honestly...
He offered to pay us 10,000 gold to kill her, to kill Vela Breeze. And I'm also realizing, wouldn't it behoove someone who was Vishamvaru to have a portal into other places?
It sure would.
I don't know why that just occurred to me.
Gee golly, we're now starting to pick up on the rudimentary themes of the campaign. It's good.
Well, I can tell you this.
No, you can't.
He has
I'm
a
not going to
very-
let you continue to speak.
Please.
No, we'll save it for the role playing, which will eventually happen at about hour 3 of tonight's episode.
Well,
So,
watch
the
that.
party was faced with a decision as to whether or not to take this contract, as it did offer a substantial amount of money, although they felt being paid for killing the person that they were already considered killing was perhaps not within their moral compass. So they
Just a little
declined
bit
the
gauche.
offer. And we'll filler beach episode. Yeah, we can do that.
Hot Springs episode.
So they departed from Tromarn's estate and returned from whence they came. And then they decided to rest the night and then go exploring down below to see their somewhat alien creature that they had encountered a long time ago, Agaraga, only to find Agaraga dead. Agaraga, if you want to mispronunciate his name. And Doran Geos was
It's debatable.
fortunate enough to find a strand of memories left as the creature died, and upon subjecting himself to them, saw with unmistakable clarity an irrefutable clue. The murderer of Agarega was none other than Vela Breeze, allegedly. So, armed with that information, the party has now done some other things and has come up with a foolproof plan in which they will enact in the next 3 hours and 15 minutes.
Incorrect. We will begin to.
All right.
Then we will second guess.
So, with all of this information, Beth, your submarine that you've requested is in the harbor, and everyone else, it would have been nice if you guys contributed anything, but...
We only
It's
called
a
2
joke!
people
It's
so
because
far.
Beth didn't type any... It's fine.
Okay.
You guys
Cool.
like yellow submarine.
Did Beth spill rice again? What happened?
I don't know. For all we
I got
know,
a submarine, though. Sounds like
she-
you guys contributed incorrectly if you didn't get a submarine out of it.
The submarine is a metaphor for inadequacy.
For what? Sorry, you lagged.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cool. So, you find yourself in the city of Vesular, not quite knowing what to do next, which is the central theme of this campaign.
On the rise?
On the rise? On
the-
the rise?
I think you forgot the exclamation point at the end, or question mark.
I don't even know where you are. You can be anywhere you'd like to be, as long as it's somewhere that you were.
Well, didn't we kind of finish at the talking to the professor?
You did.
Praetor.
It starts the same letter.
Master.
Well, yes, it does use the same alphabet.
So it's basically the same thing.
So, you find yourself outside the Bremeraldi School for Abjuration and Divination, now accepting virtual learning classes.
It's where you have to scry in.
So D&D Zoom is called Doom.
Yeah.
It's not the best name.
Well, I have an idea for a location.
Uh-oh.
I have a question.
Uh-oh.
Questions are good.
Whoa, not
Thank
all
you,
the
Katie.
time.
I appreciate your support. Torrent, did you ever manage to get a straight answer out of your Professor Praetor about why exactly she's made a sudden about face on the whole Arcane Guard?
Yes, as I explained before, it was juxtapositioning her political worries versus what might be a blatant, opposition to the goings-on of Velabreeze. And so with some concessions, it placated the the person to which she suspects is behind a lot of things, and then now I have verified. So, well done to the Praetor to have such foresight. I hope that clears things up.
But you know, like, are you really sure that that's just not planted information? Because they are shapeshifters, you know.
Well, if it was planted information, they wouldn't have accounted for somebody as keen and intelligent as I to find it. They would have probably placed it in somebody else's lap to misunderstand. However, you're not going to get one by
Wait.
me, so...
What do you mean? Are you saying that all along you have like some ability to tell whether or not someone is shapeshifter or not?
No, I just have better abilities than some. I'm not saying I have a foolproof manner. Of course, there's always a margin for error. Lord knows, my last few weeks have been rife with margins for error, whether it's my own fault or things that have happened to me by those around me.
You're talking about
Fine,
when you're
thus
a
far,
statue?
we've done our best work in margins of error.
I believe I was turned into a statue at one point.
I remember you
that
tried
was
to
my
beat me to
fault.
death.
I
Me
don't
too.
recall any of that.
I think you were enjoying it.
Why? That's not within my characteristics to enjoy physically beating someone, even though I've never been able to before in my life, and it would be a freeing, if not new experience to it. I mean, you know,
You could also
Really?
try doing a couple of push-ups and then punch me.
is that what I did?
I mean, if you want to use petrification as a metaphor for push-ups, sure.
I didn't
You
use
did punch
petrification.
in face.
Petrification was used against me. I'm sorry that I then used some bludgeoning against you. But aren't you, like, trained to parry such things?
I am, and that's why I'm not dead.
Is it because you're the other you now? Did I kill one? What happened? I wasn't there, sort of.
I mean, I think I'm still the same me.
How can you tell?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not glowing.
I
do
suppose
not
you're
mean-
more chatty than the other
I
one.
do not mean to interrupt, but are we not on eve of horrible, possibly city-ending disaster?
No, not at all. We
have
have
to
to
We've got at
alright.
least
First-
a week.
First, we have to-
It is my mistake.
probably go into narration about our own side of things. But beyond that, we have to determine a good environment. I understand there's an aqueduct, I think, nearby. But what was it? Wait.
I think it was an amphibian.
amphitheater.
Ah, yes, the frog place.
I don't know. Aqueduct is sounding like a pretty cool place to have a final battle.
It does see. It is very scenic.
I don't know.
We could drown her.
In an aqueduct? Hold her face down. That's 7 to 12 inches.
Water.
We get in there.
It's very hands-on drowning.
You just like people are walking underneath you. Nope, nothing to see here. Move along.
Like, don't worry about this official Aureus Academy business.
Hey, that's worked before.
Checking the
I
to
don't
see if the
know.
water's too alkaline. You know, we have a kit and also have to drown this person.
Well, I think the amphitheater's a good. I'm sorry, Ziliana.
Oh no, go
It
for
seems
it.
like you've been wanting to say something for a while.
No, we'll keep on this topic right now.
Okay, that's good because my mind tends to wander. So,
We know.
like the Wandering Star Festival. Anyway,
Isn't the Wandering Star a metaphor?
Simile.
No, there's no like or as.
Oh, it's not like something?
No, it's just the Wandering Star.
Anyway, Kadia,
If it's implied, it's a metaphor.
Okay, English graduates.
Ria minors in literature at Aureus Academy.
And majors in hitting people with a sword.
Uh-huh. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
I like that Casey's been rubbing her eyes for like 5 minutes.
A better DM would throw the plot at them. But I don't want to be good. I just want to be middle of the road.
Anyway,
I'll
the
fireball them
amphitheater-
in 10 minutes if they don't start doing something.
The amphitheater, I think we should scope it out, and like make a plan. And I think it's a good location because it's got like multiple levels, and so we can like hide things in certain places. But hold on,
I-
2 more seconds.
Okay.
Hold on. Just so you know, where I am laying mentally, I think Trelmarn is the Veshamvaru. I'm not saying the Vela is not, but I'm just saying there could be more than one of them, and he is. That's it. I'm done. Continue.
Okay. My understanding of amphitheater is that, there are many levels, but not many places to hide.
Do you know about props?
I am aware of concept props. You must continue.
They're useful.
Okay.
Do you have
Go on.
anything?
Well, like, there's like this stage in the back. Like, not really a stage. There's a stage at the amphitheater, but there's a storage area in the back where the props are held, kept, stored, hence it being called storage.
Any of those words would work. They're all
Yes.
synonyms.
That's why I'm saying them. We could use those to like set the trap.
Okay, how?
I don't know. We have to go there and like check it out. Like I've been there many times, but I've never been there where it's empty. Because if you show up early while it's empty, you're so uncool, and you have to be fashionably late, or you're just like really uncool.
So to get things straight, you wish us to bring Velabris to amphitheater where you are waiting, dressed perhaps as Pegasus, and she like, wow, there's prop on stage with Cadia dressed in crazy outfit. I do not know what it is we do with this. I walk to stage. Oh, I have been shot by friends. Oh no, this is plan you have.
Well, that's an interesting interpretation of the way that things could unfold. But I don't think that I'm gonna go as a Pegasus. I think I'm just gonna go as me. Did you say
Oh yes,
Pegasus?
I agree. That was the only thing that was wrong with that plan.
Okay.
Right, just to add my 1 or 2 coppers to this. When the Praetor requests a meeting, why would the Praetor ever choose an amphitheater? Wouldn't that immediately be like, huh?
I didn't think that she was gonna be there.
I think the message that I got from the meeting last, and I'm all right being wrong, is that we needed to pick a place that wouldn't feel suspicious. So therefore, a place of performance. And if we're
How does
Okay.
performance not be suspicious?
To be
because
honest
Vela
with you,
performs,
right,
like
but when somebody is sitting meeting with somebody, usually it is not in public amphitheater. Usually it's like, in office or
Oh.
perhaps in inn or,
okay, then you guys pick a place.
Well, I mean, the theater where we already were could be an option just by virtue of we've already had meetings there.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
trying
but
to
that's
pick a
like
place that
their territory, and we need our territory.
Why is the amphitheater our territory?
Well, it's because it's not theirs.
I don't think that's how territory works.
I don't want to be on their ground. Like we need advantage. I'm using words.
Celebrate.
We need
see
an
that.
advantage.
Philibris,
And-
perhaps you will meet us in Fireball Shop where we sell fireballs.
Well, I mean,
This
I
is
don't-
our turf. It's full of swords.
Look, here's a magical prison. Let's meet there.
I feel like the only other place that we would meet is where the festival is being held. And isn't that being like held directly in the middle of the square? We can't just fight or kill her in the middle of the square.
Are you sure that is the only other place in the entire city where we would possibly meet her? There can be no other place.
Well, Lysandros is claimed as Grimm's death spot. Okay, where Bone Daughter
Yes,
was
it has
released.
been burned down.
So we can't go there. Also, don't you think like the inside would be just into enclosed of a space? Like, say if a fireball did go off, we're all just gonna die.
I start
Just-
twiddling
just-
my fireball necklace. Why would you say such a thing?
Just to reiterate, Lysandra's Food Emporium is a burned out charcoal husk.
would be a weird location to meet Vela.
It would, yes.
Okay, why are we thinking of Los Angeles as place to meet in the first place? It could. Why not somewhere in Primeraldi school?
I think
The
that
only
that's...
reason, as was mentioned by my praetor in our meeting, you may recall, I don't know, it's been minutes, that having a Vesham Veru loose on the Primeraldi grounds, if things go wrong, is like starting a fire in the driest of woods. It's just lots of fuel for it to consume at that point.
This is true. Okay, no Primeraldi school. Perhaps.
That's why it would be safe at the amphitheater. There's very little magic over that way.
It's true. I never found magic in the performative art.
I mean, it's also... I'm not saying that we're wrong, but it's...
But yeah, the but.
I dislike
But-
but when you should have just left it at as the first sentence.
Oh no, I'm not done talking. It is worth keeping in mind that if we are wrong about Vela Breeze and we kill her at the Primeraldi school, which is headed by your praetor master Padawan thing.
What a one?
Don't worry about it. I read it in a book once.
I seriously doubt you read that in a book.
Then who has in the past had some pretty strident disagreements with Vela Breeze. That is politically not great.
Yes, another reason
Okay.
not to have it at the school. I agree.
Yeah. I'm
Let us-
backing you up. I'm agreeing with you. You should thank me.
Let us look at the facts, though. Okay.
Yes,
Say it
let's
with me.
go through the
Thank
facts.
You do not talk, Katie, a crazy child. Even if Vela Breeze is not, Veteran Veru, she still make bad evil deal with bad evil men who kill many people.
Who?
I hate to actually advocate for Vela in that single count, but she could very well be a victim of that instead of the,
And I was also going to say to play, pardon pun, devil's advocate for a moment.
Demons.
She did demon's advocate. No, it's a devil. I know the difference this time.
But it's a demon though.
No, it is
The-
devil.
Fiend. She did stop working with him specifically, and put a fair amount of effort into getting out of that particular contract.
You're making it less easy for me to kill her with morally justifiable grounds.
That's good.
Can I make a point
Yes.
or just think about some stuff, because I'm having, so the memory that Doran saw was Vela.
Oh, unquestionably.
I don't
Correct.
understand that, but okay.
Hang on, please. So, Trelmarn is defined kind of by the absence of residuum around him. So less
Good,
residuum
that's-
around him. Vela has been absorbing this residuum for power. Remember the lyrics that she sang all the time? Or not all the time, but the 2 times we heard her. One of the times was, wake to a revelry, breath of joy sings contentment to be. Without your light, the darkness comes. Without your light, the darkness comes. That's one. Second one, you are enough, my kin. We are enough. Joyous shelter. Sorry, my handwriting is terrible. I'm not very good at writing on bark. Confident light inside you. Let the light warm it to bloom. Without light, darkness comes. You are enough. Find contentment here. You are enough. Part of me thinks that this is someone trying to lull the lambs to slaughter. Part of me, though, sees this in opposition to Trelmarn.
Yes,
I
the
don't-
yang of the yin. Yes.
Yes, and I don't. This is where I don't know the answer. Are they both Vishem opposing each other because one wants power and to eat the rest of the other? Are these characteristics that both would have? Is he a Vishem and she's another entity that's been hunting him? I don't, and maybe her trying to tamp down magic is trying to starve him out. the thing that doesn't connect though is the memory, unless he shapeshifted to look like her. I don't know. But do you see like that we're
Okay, so this is point that makes things confused. Okay, if you were great, powerful Vishnu, with crazy untold power, able to eat magic people, would you make a deal with devil?
Demon.
Demon?
and
Okay.
that's why I'm questioning. It's oh, and then Trollmarn's been encouraging all these other people to make magic. So basically, snacks.
Yes, I mean that also does bring us back to my old theory that it's not that Vela has always been a Vishemvaru, but rather that there was a Vela Breeze who made a deal with Balthier Grimm, who was then replaced opportunistically by a Vishemvaru when the original Vela died.
I think that is probably the case, because the name is no longer in the book of deal location. So Vela Breeze die.
It's
Gets
a very
replaced
sound bit of logic. I also agree.
Breeze
Yeah.
number 2.
What do you wait? Hold on. Oh, because it was it's not invisible ink. The contract is null because she doesn't exist anymore.
Because she has been erased.
That is, and whether it was a conscious choice by the Vishemvaru removing her, or else just an opportunistic, they burst through and she was dead and they took her place.
Okay, I have thought.
Okay.
Big brain. I have brain blast.
Yes.
Okay, lay it on me,
Okay.
Grithcole.
Okay, so if you die, right, you stay in deal, because even if you are dead, you still exist in hell or heaven or Mount Celestia. I don't know, all these places. But
Well, some
if
of
you
us,
are
yes.
if you are eaten by Vishnu, they eat your soul and shit, and they eat everything about you, right? So then you'll cease to exist entirely, and you'll no longer written down on a piece of paper because you are gone.
And
so
even a fiendish steel has no hold on a soul that no longer exists.
Exactly.
I have just the strangest, uncorroborated, unprovable theory. Oh,
Okay, Holly.
No, nothing conspiracy-wise.
Okay.
It's just a lack of subject matter experts is the problem here. This is my first, and most people have never dealt with residuum before. We don't see it. It is not a part of our normal perceptive capability. I wonder if there's any difference to the residuum if they've consumed a soul. There might be proof. I don't know, a characteristic, a property. It's hard to say. That, again, this is why I sort of wish we do not kill Vela, but we disarm and contain Vela.
Well, I think that's still part of I think it's stages, right? Like the closer we get to figuring out what she is, determines what our action is, right? So if we contain her, but we get clues that she is a shapeshifter and she is Visham, then we can move to kill, right? But
Well, no, particularly not. Because destroying her leaves zero trail back to any other Visham trail mark that might exist.
I don't know. I mean, I don't trust Trellmarn, but I'm not sure I entirely buy the theory of him being Vishemvaru, specifically because he seems to repel residuum.
Do you remember what Sigil Zealot said?
She said many things.
The specifically that they could all be one Vishemvaru. What if Trellmarn is just one aspect of the same entity? And it is an opposing aspect, just like every individual we know has conflicts within them, except for Cadia, who is single-minded in purpose.
And it was what were the two?
Doran, make an intelligence roll for me.
Who?
Doran, please.
That was one of my
empathetic.
Okay, I'll bring on my
and
character sheet. Fine.
Empathetic and
Dang it.
passionate.
Totally not ready.
Well, I mean, Vela Breeze's rhetoric is based around those kind of empathetic pleas, while Trellmarn's is based around passion.
Just saying that.
Keep
like,
talking. Stall.
All
I'm gonna
right,
roll.
well, I'm saying that I kind of did have that idea like several days ago, because I was like, "Ooh, what if they're the same person?" And I was like, "No, there's no way because
Signal to
we
noise
saw them
ratio,
at the
Katie,
same
yeah.
place at the same time."
Katia, you
What?
have made possibly every claim it is possible to make.
Yeah.
Yes,
Cannot-
I know.
You cannot fall back on, well, I said that all along, because you've exhausted every possibility
not
in
saying
entire
that I'm
infinite reaches
correct.
of the universe.
I'm just saying that it was a thought that I had. Just so you know.
You had
Also,
I believe,
Rhea, intelligence check, please.
I have a lot of
Okay.
thoughts, okay?
This
I,
is not my strong
I believe
point.
that you are 1 trillion chimpanzees with
Just a straight
quill and
intelligence.
parchment. That is how your brain and your theories work. So you have said that. You have also said
Loading.
is
I don't think
Where
I've ever
are
said
your
that.
dice?
Is it? Am I just making a straight intelligence roll?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
I can't hear
We
you.
can't hear you.
I'm gonna
but-
go with yes.
Yeah!
Wow.
I try.
I've
Nate.
already rolled, but nothing happened. I'm gonna click again. Apologies if there's multiples.
Yeah, I have not seen any so far.
I've rolled once again, but nothing happened.
What's your intelligence modifier?
I'm gonna refresh.
Refreshing. It's refreshing. Cool. Summers.
Like a summer breeze.
Like a Vela breeze.
Like a Bella breeze. Coming soon to a laundry detergent aisle near you.
Oh, I'm derp.
I did better than the wizard.
Look,
Casey,
look, you are
this is
all
what
getting
happens
to
when
me.
you-
I am dumber for knowing everybody.
I get that a lot.
Casey put the plot helping information on an intelligence roll, and here we are.
Yeah. Lord, who knows? Give the wizard an intelligence roll with +4. And I'll roll it too. I will-
fail.
I will say, since two of you independently have come here as players, for the sake of my sanity, both Doran and Rhea, you do recall back to something Garga said, which Dora's already referenced here. Each of the Vishem Varu has, each is one of two sides. The Vishem, docile, empathetic, nurturing, and the Varu is driven, passionate, and commanding. Those words sort of
So
re-echo in
if
your
we-
mind.
If we just heal the Dark Crystal, the two sides will come together.
What if... Okay, alright, so if that is the case, why would one want us to kill the other side?
Because
I mean, they don't have to be
the
friends.
compassionate side hates the spiteful side, and vice versa.
Oh, so we hate both of them.
Yes, we do.
So what if we bring both of them into the same place?
But one watched the other perform, so what's the problem with them being in the same place? They're
Well,
we
still
can
opposing
capture-
ideals.
We can
So
capture
here-
both, right?
Here's the another thing. If one is empathetic and docile, can she be reasoned with,
They're exceedingly
knowing
intelligent.
knowing that Vigil is going to come down and to destroy?
Maybe.
Empathetic and or spiteful, even regardless. There's going to be a sense, I would assume, and this is a big assumption. There's going to be a sense of self-preservation, and self-preservation, when things are desperate like that, becomes selfish. They will do what they have to survive. It is very rare for something to just go ahead and give up their own life, for especially others that are maybe not of their kind, not of their world, foreign to them, considered lower beings. I wouldn't die for a handful of chipmunks if they were all threatened, etc., etc.
Oh, really? Okay, Kitten, I have
Yes,
questions
really. That's
to
what.
ask. Sorry, my cat's on my notes. The other thing too
Where do you
is that
find these animals, Ziliana?
they love me.
Right?
Anyway, I'm one step away from being a Disney princess. So the other thing too is, wasn't there was a quote from Araga. I can't remember where this was. I, Agarga, here at the Thresheden Gate, my first kinfolds, the infinite star of arise, I think. My second kinfolk. My handwriting is terrible.
Hold on,
Winding
wait. I have it
water
written down too. Let me
of the
get to it.
flower of the lower seven, and my creator. He wins the sigil, the city of doors at the center of the universe.
Well, do not worry. I did tell the Praetor all about the portal doorway area, and it will likely come under scrutiny soon, if not
That's why
already.
I think the number is 4.
What number?
What
is
number?
4?
There's 4 Veshram.
Why?
Oh, it's the kobold with the coat. Get it.
He's got to do something.
Oh,
He has
thank you.
something to do with
He's
this.
dead. Well,
Is he?
Oh, the infinite staircase.
Yes.
Sorry, I thought it was stars.
The kobold
So-
with the sweater. He's dead.
As you all
Didn't he
kind
die?
of wander through the city, you realize that Cadia has been taking you a slightly off route from where you normally are, and you do find yourself in front of the amphitheater in which she was speaking of. She just sort of turns and grins at you. As you stand in front of the Virtue Amphitheater, a small, much smaller than the theater you were in previously, there. What you do with this location is up to you, but you are at the location at which Katia has
We're gonna have to make
discussed
it go
to you.
west.
Rhea just kind of like puts her hands on her hips and looks up at like the big sign that says Virtue Amphitheater, and she just goes, "Don't think I like that metaphorical resonance.
Why?
It's just a feeling I have."
I don't like bad feelings. I get that. Bad juju, no good.
Well,
An overdeveloped sense of irony.
so what if what if Trelmarn's also a dead person and that's his house?
Oh
Do
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
why we can't go into any of it and
Well, I was curious. I wanted to know like who owned that house before Charmarin bought it, because he said that he bought it like a year ago or whatever, and then also he kind of like implied that he's lived here before.
Casey, you once said he looked druidic to me. Was that a real
Yep.
thing or okay.
Well,
Shifter.
I see that we've been led here by a little conniving Kadia, so let's.
I'm not
at
conniving.
least- do you know what the
Mostly.
word means?
I said mostly. You're not my enemy, so I'm not conniving to you.
Okay.
Shall we check out the area to see if this is a viable location for a very strange meeting?
Yes.
Is this a pagoda? Padoga? Pierogi? What are these called?
The shopkeep just sort of looks over at you. There are little sort of stands. You're very much probably about half a dozen blocks south of kind of where the Meridian Theater is. Think of this as like off Broadway. There are a number of theaters like this. This one is open air, usually quite smaller performances, very much where you would go to see students from the school perform something. Rarely have huge prestigious events, as it is a little bit weather dependent. But as Liana up the stairs, you just see a large set of double doors, which are kind of propped open. You can see through into the amphitheater
props.
itself. And just sort of tiered steps going up. The top is maybe about 30 or 40 feet up. And it's currently empty. Everything seems quiet. There's sort of a small kind of box office window off to the left side of the building, and then another room of some sort off to the right there. But other than that, there doesn't appear to be much sort of structure or anything.
While I recognize this might be flawed is that this was Vela is a performer. It's a theater. There's not a lot of structure here to destroy, and not a lot of people around in it. This is why an amphitheater was posed as an option.
Katia, you're a Vela Breeze fan going into before all of this, right?
In our work. Let's just say that. I wouldn't
You
say
went
fan
gaga when you heard her name
Okay,
the
yes,
first.
but
Okay,
that was
I'm
like
just,
before.
I know, but so you would know if she's ever actually performed here, maybe in her early years.
Well, she's like kind of new here, but like
Oh, I
I'd
thought
heard.
she already had a contract with the demon guy and was from here at least at one point.
No,
From Calathun
she's an
originally.
yeah, she's an outsider. She's not.
As
She's
far
not
as you
from
know.
the Empire.
Oh, well then.
I just like know about her because like I'm a bard and like we know music first, you know. Heard that name. You know, the underground period, like here, is very, very limited underground period. And then all of a sudden, boom, you're like everywhere and you're above ground and people know you. It's like really fast.
I lean over to Zillion and I'm like, people perform underground in this city? There's like, are there like underground amphitheaters?
It's like a really like need like a like when I used to go to the club and stuff, it was like you needed a password and stuff, and like it was really loud. Typically a lot of drumming, and like these like really harsh like lutes and stuff.
Electric lutes.
It was really noisy.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Could be really fun though. A lot of bioluminescent lichen and stuff. It was really good.
All right.
I don't go there anymore.
I should take you sometime though. I think you'd really like it. Yeah.
Okay, so
Usually when drow bands toured, that's where they would play.
Oh. You know, the drow are pretty sketch, but their music is.
yeah, they would kill it. I mean, they would kill everyone that attended.
They would kill you. I mean it.
All right. So, Aureus people, where would it be a good setup for this giant mirror I have to disguise with not magic, lest they understand that residuum is just pouring on, you know.
Well, kind of like, let me see what they have in the prop room.
What's this? Looks like a lighting thing.
The conductor.
You guess that whomever is performing performs down at the sort of the center, and that's kind of the seat of, like if you are the premier guest, that is likely where you would sit.
Well,
Employee of the week. So.
Yeah. It's not really like a box seat so much as it is just sort of carved out front and center. The best seat in the house.
with the Veshem, if we happen to pull this off and tether her here, does that also tether him?
Ooh, that's interesting.
Because if they're part of the same thing,
I'm just a little bit unclear on how all that works.
Right.
Well, the good thing about this Oculus Rift is that it binds something entirely. So any connection that the Veshem has to the Rue will be affected, I would assume.
Wait, but what if that's what he wants?
I'm okay with that's what he wants. It's still
You want to
debilitating.
give our mom what he wants?
I'm okay if it's exactly what I want, yes.
Oh,
For example, if an enemy wants to give me an advantage, I will accept that. Thank you for the advantage. It's a bit early in the day there to be drinking.
All right. Well, I'm gonna check out the storage room. I like these rooms that I could just make up.
It's not a donation closet.
It's
Stop.
not a donation.
Oh, look at
I
all
like
this free
We'll
stuff.
just say rooms and rooms.
So, looking at the building itself, the sort of central thing is literally just kind of like two archways with doors that both are open. They both go into the amphitheater area itself. They both have a door kind of going off to one side that goes underneath each of these, which are kind of like 2-story high. You're guessing they're only kind of big enough for one room. Both of those doors are closed. There doesn't seem like the box office windows itself are kind of shut, so it looks like everything's closed up and nothing is really going on here at the moment.
I'm going in.
Okay. The doors are open, so you can definitely walk into there. Are you trying to go through the doors to the side places, keeping in mind that there are people at the stands sort of out back on the street that are just watching all of you walk up into the theater area?
Are they selling something, or are they just...
Let's refer to them as witnesses.
Yeah. I mean, they appear, the one sort of on the top of the map here appears to be a fruit vendor, and the other one is selling, it looks like, some kind of cooked meat. You can smell sort of the smell of them sort of roasting. Looks to be perhaps rodents on a spit. Their special is 1 gold for a fistful of chipmunks. Does smell delicious.
Not to a vegetarian.
Oh my god! All of a sudden, I'm like, what? Oh god.
Yeah, I'm just going in. Like, and if these prop rooms really do exist, I want to look through them.
All right. The doors to both sides are locked.
Oh, for heavens. Stars and gods and goddesses. Well, I guess we should have, like, said, hey, we're going to go check out this Who do I know runs this place? Or would run this place? And how far away is this from the other theater?
It's probably about 8 or so blocks south of the Meridian. You definitely start to get more into like the old town. Vibe. It's sort of like right on the edge of that. So probably about 10-15 minute walk.
Do I know of who would be in charge of this place? Who would have the keys to it?
Don't we have ways to just pick in there? Does it matter?
I mean, it's really, really loud, and like we're in the city.
You've been in the city the entire campaign.
Yeah, but like not underground.
You don't know the proprietors directly. You know that somebody likely owns it, and they probably have the keys to the various places. But it's also a place that you know of, like, nothing, unless there's a show, like, nobody comes and opens it up or anything like that. So,
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, I didn't think this far ahead.
Yeah, it's okay. I guess. Do we need? I feel like there's still a lot of questions to answer. I'm not very smart, Doran. I'm just trying to puzzle through this all.
We all are. It's fine.
Because, like, are they in opposition to each other? Like, I just, we've spent a lot of time talking to Trelmarn about Reshamvaru, which is great. And we know how he feels about her. Do we know how she feels about him?
Well, Trelmarn was her #1 suspect when she hired us.
So presumably not friendly.
That's true. That's true.
I am curious I mean, if they're not both best from Vero, what the hell happened in their past to make them hate each other so much?
The
Maybe
Force.
they just don't
Love us.
they just disagree with each other. Sometimes
Oh my-
sometimes somebody just has a really bad opinion, and you just declare a blood feud with them.
Like
It
I
happens.
with Grim and Chalmarn.
Yes, I'm aware.
And
I've
that
been
guy
there
that
for
walked
all
by
of these.
us, and
Yeah. Rhea, if you
That
ever
woman who looked at me sideways.
and that school for the left-handed.
I saw a shadow of a person. I'm pretty sure there was somebody there. I hate that person.
Yeah, their shadow looked vaguely like a beard to me.
Hey, bearded people, when, you know, someone says.
You guys should
Yes,
definitely
yeah.
go to Dwarf Town.
Yeah, it definitely makes me think you need to be really nice to your reflection, because if that reflection doesn't like you, that's a bad news.
Ooh.
As far as
The
we can tell.
reflection's me.
Right, but the Vesham Brew might be like, that is me too. You
It
shouldn't
might be
fight
an
with your
advanced
reflection.
version of the same thing that's happening to you.
Yeah. That's like, think about
I
it.
think I don't not have this conversation anymore. She just like turns around and walks over and starts like really aggressively
La, 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 la,
inspecting
la.
the fruit at the fruit vendors.
I-
She's sort of like, these are some great cantaloupes. Please tell me about these cantaloupes.
I cast disguise self and I look like Rhea, and I'm like, listen, you have to talk to yourself. You
She
have
just
to love
fucking
yourself.
Screams.
You have to love me.
Rhea, you're sounding so much more shrill than usual.
Oh God.
The shopkeeper's
It's
just
okay.
like, take whatever you want, don't hurt me!
Face
Your
your
cantaloupes are really
fear.
nice.
I
Cantaloupes
little-
too.
I'm a little jealous. I'm pretty sure I would get along with whatever version of me's out there.
Can you imagine two of you? That would be so crazy.
It's just
You could
imagining
like study while the other one's like
studying.
Hey, Gideon, do you think that is how it works? And you have there's like one combined brain up in sky?
Yeah, that'd be great. So like
mean,
one of
that's
me
how
could
it
be
works
like
for
writing
me.
songs and stuff, and the other one could be performing them.
That's not how it works.
It's not how it works.
Well, it's how it works in my head now. So
Okay, that's great. Here in the real world, when I
No.
make it of me, it just does what I do.
Well, before we break and enter,
oh, and I'm not doing that.
No, I think we need to investigate some stuff, to be honest. I'm still looking like Rhea, by the way.
I have an idea. It's in the other direction though.
Okay.
Always is.
I would like to find out who owned Charmarn's house before Charmarn.
Okay.
Maybe it's a clue.
we're already here. We could maybe come up with a basic tactical assessment. Is this a
Well-
good place to have a meeting?
First of all, we have to find out who owns this place. So,
I see.
ooh,
Well, of
and
course.
We don't
if we
need to
can
roleplay
use
that.
it, and
No, I want.
if we
I
can have
want
the keys to it,
I want to.
Oh,
the
wait.
bureaucracy.
can't your like master just do this for us? He just like call her up. I imagine when you call people, you just do this for some reason.
The doors are open. We have free access to the amphitheater as
There-
is.
Not
It is
locked.
a public space. No. The storage areas you want to get into are locked.
Oh, I thought it was the whole entire place.
No, the doors into the amphitheater are open.
I kind of push it open with my staff. No, see?
Oh, okay. Well, I was totally mistaken. All right, go on. My bad. We'll do that later.
My chief concern is that if I start this ritual and the residuum that will be involved with the ritual,
What we're
it
doing?
might- activating the Oculus.
Oh, it has to be activated?
Remembering that when we were in the sewers doing it to people, of their own free will and volition, that it took
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Oh, but that's like after she's here.
Correct. And after she's here, I need to start performing a ritual that may or may not start producing residuum right away. I dare say I would rather not use magic to conceal it because that would just produce more residuum. And our current target is clearly able to see, draw in, and redirect residuum in a manner that I'm very fascinated with and would like to study further. However, right now it appears to be a bit of an Achilles heel. I'm sorry, D&D Achilles. The Achilles heel for trying to get this to work without Velabreeze being aware.
So then
And remember, they travel the planes at will.
I mean,
So if
also,
Vela's aware at any point,
it's also
Velabreeze will
worth
not be
noting.
here for the effect.
2 things. 1, Trollmarn is very interested in an inventor who can get into the other planes,
Mm-hmm.
and he repels residuum.
And
Might
3.
Oh, go ahead. 3.
He's aware
4.
of the Oculus.
Haha. Fuck. Okay. Let's forget about that for a moment, though.
Okay. 2.
2. Not forget about it, but it's there. He's aware of the Oculus. Given that he repels residuum, which, who knows, he could be fasting for a very large meal of it. I don't know. But
Yes,
might he be easier to anchor than Vela?
I dare say, but Vela is clearly the dangerous one right now.
But how do you really know that?
Because I watched her murder Agaraga.
Yes,
Very
but
true.
shapeshifter.
Are y'all some sort of performing troupe?
Yes. Yes, we are.
Kadia is an accomplished performer.
She's our manager.
Oh,
Kidding.
I am not.
I don't look like Rhea anymore. Sorry.
Are you
I'll drop that.
set to perform in the virtue?
Yes.
Great. When's your performance? I'll be sure I'm open. The cantaloupe don't sell themselves if I ain't here, you know?
It's 1 week from today.
1 week from today. All
Yeah,
right.
The Cantaloupe Man is in the direct line of fire of whatever it is we're about to do.
What's the
All
Cantaloupe
right.
Man's name?
Will, do you want
My onion.
is your show is it a serious one or is it more of a I can sell cantaloupe while you do it?
It's a serious one.
Okay, but with or without the cantaloupe in the audience? Maybe in halfway between the seriousnesses?
During intermission, I'm sure would be great.
That's the word. I'm not from the show business.
Yeah, but there
you
can't.
cut them into slices because I think, or do you just sell them whole? Because I'm just trying to think if somebody was to throw something at me, what would hurt less?
Oh, I have spike fruit.
You
They're
could sell-
delicious.
You could sell cantaloupe if you cut it into slices.
All right, sliced cantaloupe. I'll let Anaros know. All right.
Okay.
But you should like just stay on the outside. You shouldn't come on the inside.
All right. Not to sell. How do I sell them to the audience if I don't come in the inside?
Well, during intermission, people usually stand up and walk around.
All right. All right.
Maybe we should do that play about the star-crossed lovers, so then, like, and then their parents could be like, you can't elope, and then, like, that's your cue for you to sell more melons.
I hate
It's
this
like
so
product
much.
placement.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea.
All right.
We should do that maybe like next month.
It's like full integration.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
makes you
yeah.
feel like you're there.
I could sell cantaloupe to that.
Okay.
Did you get it? You can't elope.
Cantaloupe. Yeah, I've got lots of it.
Oh, it's so cute because he doesn't get it.
I don't know.
Maybe that-
I get
it's not
deliveries
nice.
regularly. I could sell upwards of a dozen cantaloupe right now.
That's
So
a
it's
lot.
Say
not
that. That's a
hard.
lot of cantaloupes.
It is. So you're performing next week. I'll write it on my calendar. And you checking out the theater?
Yeah.
What, if I may ask, is your serious performance about? Is
You
it?
can't. We don't discuss that.
Why not? Since we're
Because it's bad
basically
luck.
business partners now.
No, we're not business partners. You're
You
just
told
happen to
me
be-
that I can do business as part of your business. That makes us business partners.
No.
Look,
No.
if we tell you,
You can-
everything, then people won't have a reason to come and see it.
I
But
ain't
the
gonna tell
elevator
no
pitch-
one nothing.
The
What
elevator pitch, which
what
is something
is
that now
it?
exists in this universe.
is that thing that they've got up in Chora that takes you down to Ria Rakul Town?
Yes, precisely.
I
that's the
went
thing.
there once, and they tried to sell me a cantaloupe on a stick with a little crusted batter on it. I swear to God, it was turkey.
I hear
I've
that's
never
actually
heard
an
of anyone
ancient
Frying
drow traditional food.
What?
So what you're saying? You have you want to pitch a show to me?
No.
No, the elevator pitch is like the short version.
Oh.
We just did that.
Yeah, no, I don't have the patience to watch your whole
What?
performance right now. Just tell me what
Yes.
it's about.
What is
It's
elevator?
about what all things are about, which is the grand pitch struggle between good and evil.
Good and evil. Now, that is a theme that most people can relate to, at least people that I've met. You know, one thing
To
that
mix it
I
up.
always observe in people is not that they are either good or evil, but they are all the same, and they're always looking for the next person that they want to hate the most. And that's what unifies all people. Strongest of emotions, hate is, and if I could use hate to sell cantaloupe, then gee whiz, I would do it. But you know what? People love cantaloupe, and there ain't no hate about it. So I'm missing my prime way to sell things, but nothing gets people riled up like hating somebody else. I mean, he uses hate to sell his meat, but I will tell you, you know what is twice as sweet as meat? Cantaloupe.
I
You
can
know,
agree
Mr.
with that.
Cantaloupe Man, that was very insightful.
Right. Well, see y'all in a week, I guess.
Just so.
You know, if you talk loud enough, I can hear what you're saying in that there theater, and it will come right out into my ears, and from my ears onto the cantaloupe and into the people's mouths where your performance belongs.
All right, we're gonna go
Yes.
whisper in the center of the amphitheater.
All right.
Next week. Bye-bye.
Have a good time. I didn't mean to put down your meat. It's delicious.
Anyway, I have access to a spell called Snare, just as a side note. Okay.
We stared the Cantaloupe Man.
No, I was just thinking of just ways to.
Question.
Ooh.
Do wizards know how to do that silent circle thing?
Silent circle.
Magic circle, silent circle. I don't know. It like prevents magic inside the circle. Oh, no, that wouldn't work. Would it?
Yeah, because we need to use the Oculus as a focus inside the circle. Right.
I'm going to be busy. My role in this is to use the Oculus. And to
Are you the
determine-
only one who can operate it?
Well, you're welcome to try, but you are not welcome to try. Yes, I'm the only one.
Katie, going in, you do see that the back side of sort of like the main entryway, there is a little causeway that goes up on the second floor between these two buildings. There's kind of like a balcony up there. And then there are windows facing out on the back of both of these sort of buildings. Like these two, the top and the bottom one, go up 2 stories. The other one's kind of like a story and a half by the time you get like the dome there. And there is a little walkway passage between the two of them. So you're guessing it's like a room on the first floor, a room on the second floor for both of those, and then a walkway between the 2 second floors
Ooh,
that overlooks
get in
everything.
here. Come on, quick. I have like a great idea.
I'm gonna pace. I'm just gonna go like up here, and I'm gonna start working my way around this outer edge and listening to see if I can hear Kadia and Zeliana talking.
Okay.
Down in the center.
I'll continue to talk. So Rhea can do this. I can babble. I can babble for days. I can babble.
Oh, Kadia,
so
boy, do I
long.
know it.
The acoustics are fabulous.
Okay, so is it like they're talking at like a normal volume down there, and I can hear them up here?
As if you were beside them.
Okay. I will kind of make my way part of the way around, and then. And did you say that there are people in here right now?
Nobody is there. It's completely empty.
So I will.
There's a bunch of like skateboarders in the corner. Hey, gang.
The acoustics are absolutely wonderful.
Ooh,
Probably don't discuss anything important down here. Oh God.
Oh my god.
Okay.
they're great.
So what
Okay.
are next steps?
So, here, look up there on top. There's like this crossway, and like there's rooms with windows, and like it's separate.
Which part of don't have a conversation about important things down here didn't get through? Yeah, that's not how acoustics work.
It's true. Then I've been wrong my entire life.
Well,
Finally,
Discount it.
she finally
That's a milestone, ladies and gentlemen. That is a milestone right there.
Yay! Level 6! Level 6! Level 6!
Let's have a walk around and then go back outside and take a walk and not have this conversation in front of the Cantaloupe Man either.
Next week.
Yeah.
Does anyone recall how many days we actually have before the culling, if we will, the big festival?
Less than a week.
But we have 2 weeks until Lycia comes back.
Well, maybe.
Unless she decides to come back earlier.
Right. Okay. Are there other items that we need to find out
Yes.
before we put this in? A short list of items that we need to find out before we do this.
Yes.
What is it?
I would like to find out who owned Traumarn's house before. We're not having this conversation here, right?
No, we
Okay.
we are leaving.
I would find out who owned Traumarn's house before Traumarn owned it.
Let's not say his name so much out loud.
Okay. He should be
T-Man.
called.
Just who owned his house beforehand, I think is pretty succinct.
He will be known as Peacock from now on. Okay.
Okay.
He does like birds.
He had one.
He had many. And a griffin.
Peacock Griffin. Peacock
This
Griffin.
is getting really long and unwieldy.
Do you think that if he is Vishnupuru and is evil and he must be killed, that perhaps we could take Griffin afterwards?
You have a horse.
Yes.
Yes, but a horse cannot fly.
What are we gonna
Dominus-
do with a griffin?
What do you
What
mean?
aren't we gonna do with a griffin?
Exactly.
Griffin,
mean,
I like you.
Make it our friend.
Where would we? How would we feed it?
Hello.
Well,
I've got
uh,
it taken care of.
Yeah,
Conjure
she's
a lot
horse.
of goats.
She's raising mini goats.
Oh,
But like, doesn't it
that is
cost
the
money?
circle of life.
Most
We're getting
things do.
distracted. Okay, so here's the thing. I potentially have some connections where we can look some of this stuff up too, because I kind of want to know either him or the person he's replaced origin a little bit. So like, I kind of know some people with some records and things like that we might be able to scoot over and look that up.
Is it the loan shark?
No, but I do need to see him today though too.
Today.
Yes, because I've called in some favors with my family and I think I can pay off my debt.
Well, that's great.
Mm-hmm. And,
Can we still do yoga together though?
well, yeah,
Okay.
I'm not gonna, I felt bad charging you for, like, reaching your higher state anyway. So, regardless. So,
Oh, great.
but using Ziliana's Cordia background to do this investigation with, I have knowledge of how bureaucracies function and lets me gain access to records and inner workings of any noble court or government you encounter. Which, this might be a stretch, but you know the movers and shakers and whom to go to for the favors you seek, and what current intrigues of the groups of interest are. So, oh, yeah. So finding out the records of that property, that house. Also, maybe if there's been any a druid male that's gone missing from that area that we were in. So I don't know if there's any records like that that are kept or whatnot.
In terms of the real estate itself, since the people who live out on the sheer are generally the wealthy movers and shakers, etc., you know that Grey Pike is probably the place to go for there, as that's where all of the merchants are. They keep various very detailed records of all of that sort of thing, real estate being amongst them. And after about an hour of poking around there with some help, you do find that that particular estate is somewhat of an oddity in properties there, in that it has sat idle without sale for a long time, as it was vacated about 50 years ago and purchased, but then never inhabited until recently.
Sorry, did you say bought 50 years ago but never inhabited?
Correct.
Sorry, it's
So
like
it's
I'm
been-
incredulous at that.
Yeah, it's been largely empty, which is like, you know, why would somebody buy that property and not do anything with it is sort of generally the thought. But its recent inhabitant is believed to be the one who purchased it, although they could also be a family member there, but there's some tie, like the person who's living there must have some ties to the person who purchased it, right? Not much is known other than it's just sort of, and it was sort of much to the consternation of other people who had their eyes on it, as it was dramatically over outbid. Like, people were like 4,000 gold, and they were like 1,000,000 gold or whatever.
Yeah.
And they just super outbid whoever was there. So it was sold.
Accidental bidding. I was just raising my hand. This was a fly.
So stretching.
And through my memory, I believe I intentionally spoke Druidic in front of Trellmartin a few times that he did not react, correct?
As far as you could tell, no.
Okay. Okay.
Do we have any idea how old Trellmarn is? He appears human, right?
Yep. I mean, you'd conjecture probably like mid-40s
That poor sucker.
would be your guess.
So old. So old.
Mid 40s. So he purchased the house when he was -10.
Or his family did. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's...
Yeah.
Or he's some strange being from another world and is ancient.
Justified too. Okay. Oh, that beheaded you, huh?
Oh my god, I guess I'm a poltergeist.
There is no tumor, only cat.
I apologize, Katia, but I do have to haunt you.
Why?
Oh,
Boop.
That's what I thought.
you mean why? That whole spellbook thing from before.
Oh, well, like, you know.
So, what else
Uh-huh.
would you guys like to know or research or do?
I do want to...
had an idea.
Incorporeal.
I can do mine quick.
Go for it.
Go, Cookie, go.
All right, I want to go pay off my debt.
All right. Do you want to RP this or check off?
If there's no weird consequence to
Nuclear
it, just
weapons.
check off. Like, like if it's kind of like done.
It is done with all of the lack of ceremonious conclusion that you would expect. You have a similar encounter as you have previously had. You receive a note and sort of piece of parchment receipt for all of it that says your debt is paid in full. And you are left with parting words that if you ever need a debt collected, you know who to call. And you're given Pates's card and sent off feeling just as skeevy as your initial encounter.
Yeah. But I walk out of there, I like shake off the skeeve, and I think for the first time, like Ziliana stands up a little bit, straighter. She's a little more carefree, and like, even though she was kind of bubbly and weird anyway, but I just think that there's less weight, and then she remembers what they were about to do, and then the weight comes back a little bit, but not of her own selfish past. It's going forward.
Well done.
And I say to my party because you all helped me out, and we used some of the funds from like things that we did to help me with my debt, I would like to help you all. So mechanically, I'm giving you each one of my rep points, but I will help you out where you need.
Thank you.
Yes.
I
I'm
decline.
You
I'm just
decline?
glad it's a weight off of your back.
Yes. What kind of person would I be if I benefited from helping out somebody else in such a manner? You are not indebted to me. It was the group goal to clear you from your debts. And I'm actually very proud of you because perseverance paid off. And I appreciate that as an aspect in anyone. And I'm glad to see that you were able to do that. I don't need a reward.
She tears up a little bit because this is the praise that she never got from a fatherly type figure. Not that Doran's my father, but it's a type of respect.
I'm not that old.
An uncle. No respect she's gotten from an uncle. Yeah. Okay. The rest of you can still take it, though. You don't need to follow his lead.
Thank you.
I'm just glad it's a weight off your back.
Yes. Okay. That's done.
Okay. Would I be crazy if?
Let me just stop you right there.
Okay.
Yes.
There's no
All right.
conjecture. There's no
Go on.
wood. You just are.
All right. Well, you remember that kobold in the sweater?
It was a jacket, but yes.
Thought it was a vest.
It was a vest.
It was a cardigan.
It was a
The
vest.
cape.
Is it a poncho?
It was something fancy.
We scared off the DM.
I believe it was a sash.
I thought it was more of a cravat.
He still weirds me out. So, yeah.
Did he die?
I'm going to be 145% honest with you. If kobold is incredibly evil, bad person, it's a kobold.
Yeah, but clearly he was paid by someone. You remember when Ziliana described the boat incident? know
He
what
was
I'm
very,
saying?
he was very
What
obviously.
boat incident? Zilliana, have you
very-
been going on boats without telling me?
He was very obvious.
I love boats.
It does not matter
Understood.
though. He is so irrelevant. It does not matter.
You
He
really
is a-
think he's irrelevant?
He's a kobold.
He's
Somebody-
also,
Somebody
The
paid him
one-
off, though.
I mean, he disappeared
almost
right after
definitely.
everything happened. Actually, he disappeared right after Ziliana got in the boat and wouldn't let him take the boat to the stage.
Okay, he is very much. He was very much paid off by somebody to do something, but he is a kobold.
Probably Balthier.
I do not think that kobold is dangerous. I think it is kobold.
The
Okay.
Kobold's effort was beneficial to Balthier's infiltration and attack.
So do you think that then the blood wine thing that was Balthier Grimm too?
Yes, I believe that. Um, I suppose all of the happenings during the attack that happened underneath. I think you said there was a snake of some sort.
There were many snakes. I'm still kind of curious about the snake cult.
Right. So, with all of that being said, that was all Balthier or used by Balthier as a distraction, etc., etc.
Do you really think so though? Because like, here's my thinking.
But
So,
yes, we were there.
but Chalmarn is the one who wrote that note to Vela. Clearly, I mean, like, so, like 1000%. No.
It doesn't matter. The attack was by Balthier, and the kobolds' efforts were in favor of Balthier, not Trelmarn. If Trelmarn was behind it, we already suspect Trelmarn. What's your point?
I'm just trying to tie up loose ends that are bothering my mind.
Okay. What, even if everything that you were thinking was correct, what does the kobold matter?
I don't know. I think he lives at Trelmarn's house. I think he's behind one of those.
Okay, so
Wait
even
a minute. Did you just say he lives behind Trelmarn's house?
I took a drink at the wrong point. Oh my god.
okay,
Making a domestic AU for the kobolds.
even if kobold was living in the house of Chilmarn, what does this matter?
Oh.
You all, we were doing so good. Having relevant conversations.
All right, well, let's start our break right here, and we can all just think about a kobold just sort of living in a mansion. And
Definitely subletting.
we'll be back in 5 minutes.
That's why we couldn't enter any of the rooms.
And we'll
It was
start
in the lease.
perhaps with some movement.
Oh no, that's
Stay
that
tuned.
seems unlikely.
5 minutes. We'll be back. And we are back with Roll20 Presents On the Rise, sponsored by the Roll20 Spotlight program. And the players seem motivated into next bit of decisive plot forwarding action here. So we're going to let them take it away. I won't intervene with any of my frivolity anymore, and we'll just drive right ahead.
So, do we move forward with the kind of original goal of meeting with Bella, with the Praetor, and
Praetor can set up a meeting. Praetor can use both political reason. Hey, the arcane blah 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 during the upcoming festival needs this following further definition because they're currently going to do this, but they might also be willing to do this, etc., etc.
How about
It needs to be a reason for her to come in person and to send somebody in her stead,
how about
or a message.
we set ourselves up as liaisons to find common ground between Trellmarncash and Vela Breeze. And we just Oculus them both.
Excellent. Then obstacle number one, Oculusing them both requires them to stay in the same place within this amount of space from each other for 10 minutes.
Great. We get a 15 by 15 foot table.
Okay,
and
hold
we
on.
stick it in the middle of the
Yes.
amphitheater.
Here is question. Will they know it is happening to them as this is happening?
The saving throw comes at the end of 10 minutes, so I dare say that's when the effect takes place. Unless for some
Oh my
reason...
god, it is so fucking easy. We sit them down at a small circular table, and we place Kadia between them both. And we begin conversation. Meanwhile, Dorand is dangling from ceiling above, clutching lens to chest.
I think
like
you
a
underestimate my
chandelier.
ability to clutch and my ability to dangle.
It's a good way to kill Kadia with a falling object.
we have
I also
observed
don't want to
this.
be bound to this material plane. What if I
No,
want to
I would be the one
that-
falling.
that's true.
Kadia, relax.
We have observed this in action. Does it create effects? Like, are the effects like invisible, or is it like? Because we're channeling residuum, so I would assume that you can see residuum going.
It
as
is
this
a
works.
magical effect.
Yeah.
You've seen it done sort of up close, and there is residuum kind of used as part of it, like you would be sort of constantly casting a ritual spell or something like that. However, from what you've observed with residuum, if you do it from far enough away, that might not be seen, and it could just be lost in the noise of the rest of the residuum, right? If it's right next to you, yeah, you'll probably notice it, but the thing has a range of, 150 feet or something like that.
So the amphitheater currently has an ascending set of stair seats. Is that the correct? I don't.
They're just sort of, stepped
Yeah.
stone.
Seats, if you will.
So how can I get above from a decent far enough away? Is there some sort of watchtower on a campus or something? I don't know.
Oh, well, the theater itself has 2 rooms above with windows.
So you want to place me within 30 feet of them?
I mean, we could have Bella up on that little stand thing. Then that would be more.
And how exactly are we going to be selling her on that? Excuse me, ma'am. Can you just go and stand up here on this platform, which is an extremely normal thing to ask somebody to do during a meeting? This is our meeting platform.
We could do it for like I mean, the Arcane Guard has to approve of your performance. Perform.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I was Vela Breeze and you said that to me, I would say, fuck you, fuck the Arcane Guard, I'm going.
Well, then she wouldn't perform in the festival, so that kind of works.
Okay, do you think that telling her not to perform will stop her performing?
If by stopping telling If I do the crazy thing?
No, I think that Vela does not care what you tell her to do. Vela will do what Vela wants to do.
Well, it's not us.
In
We're
this
gonna
in
tell
the
her
same
what to
way,
do.
in the same way, if somebody tells you what to do, you will do what you want to do.
But it wouldn't be us telling her what to do. It would be Praetor.
Okay, but
Master.
do you think Vela, a person who do you think Vela cares about what anybody has to say about herself?
Well, if she wants to perform at the festival, yeah.
Okay, so you remember when she performed in the square that one evening?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think she was told, yes, you can perform, you have the proper permits to perform in square? You have,
Yes.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think, Solyana, who agreed with me with a small shake of head?
Yeah, I think she's gonna do what she wants to do. I think it's just. I'm sorry I brought up the amphitheater altogether. I just was trying to think. She's a performer. Where would be a place that we would meet with her because we used to run security for her? That would be the route. Thing is you know.
I think it
don't
makes
know.
sense. I mean, there's a performance happening. Where do you meet with people about your performance other than a performance the setting?
Maybe it's that we just
Well,
go
you
over her
usually
schedule.
when you're scheduling a performance or discussing a performance going to happen, you meet in an office rather than in
But that's
What
an
do you
enclosed space.
Grothko, what do you know about the entertainment industry?
I am part of ORS Academy, and usually we are the ones who bodyguard the important people, such as you have seen when we bodyguarded developers. So
And
usually
didn't
we're
we-
They've
there.
stood outside of so many green rooms.
And didn't didn't we also go and scope out the place? Why wouldn't we be like, yeah, we want to scope this place out because this
No,
might
of
be a good
course,
place for a performance?
of course you scope out the place, but usually you do not bring along those you're going to protect while scoping out the place. I'm just saying that if we're going to meet to discuss or theoretically discuss a performance-related thing, it does not have to be sat in the middle of amphitheater. It is
Okay.
a possibility that makes some sense, but
So then
no
here's
more
the
than
thing.
an office or meeting
Here's
room
what
or
we are faced with, right?
port to the hell.
We cannot do this lens in an office. Dora
Why
needs to
not?
be far away.
What if we cut circular hole in the wall and put it there like window?
A 15-foot
And the
circular hole.
amphitheater sounds buck wild right now. Totally. The amphitheater's a buck
It's
wild
like,
idea.
what's more subtle? The amphitheater, 15-foot roughly cut hole in the wall, through which you can clearly see a large arcade object.
I mean, you just say,
just-
"Oh, it's our new window." Ignore Dora.
Ignore
Dora
the-
just stood
the
behind
magic.
you.
Timori, you had you seem like you had something to interject at some point.
I have a very different alternative, although it's not about location.
Okay.
It is quite possible we are in possession of something they want. I may be able to extract that memory strand, and if they're willing to kill over it, then they're willing to be where we want them to be over it. And you may recall that my experience with that strand kept me a bit occupied.
10 minutes?
I don't recall. I was occupied.
I think it was like a second. You're like, and then you're back.
But I was also unable to process most of it. I dare say their capabilities might be more suited to this.
Wait, what is
It is a large, huge assumption. But
what
if I
thing is
have
it? What thing is it that we have that what memory?
the memory
strand of-
strand,
From a Garga. I mean,
It
but
just
it's just
happened last
why
night.
kill a Garga? It's so weird to say it that way.
There's more
Over
syllables.
knowledge.
Why kill a Garga? Because the Garga knew something that didn't need to be known. That memory strand holds that. And everything else a Garga had as well.
I mean, I suppose that's a decent point. They had left him there trapped for so long, so why kill him now?
Right. And the only answer, the logical answer, is to silence.
Doran, you would also know from the memory strand that he was killed very recently.
Right. So the discovery and or determination that Agarga knows something that could possibly cause problems needed to be solved, and it was solved really recently. Why? Because we're at the cusp of the culmination of the efforts of the
Do you have any ability to scan those memories?
It is something I have tried, not to great effect. I can try again. And I also don't believe I could be the one to extract it, but I do have a praetor who is rather amazing and good at character judgment with choices of
Okay, let's set that aside for a second. Setting your crush aside for a second.
It's not it at all. Academic admiration is much higher than some base emotion like that.
Sure.
Base emotion. That's like the emotion.
Yes, it's
What?
a
Let's
basic.
see.
Crush?
Do we remember what kind of check you made last time to try to scan it? Was it an intelligence check?
I believe it was.
Okay.
But as you clearly see, I get distracted easy with you people around.
I may be able
Doran,
to do something to help you.
Doran, you would know that, like, if you spend a long time trying to, like, discern this,
Sift,
it's a less jarring experience than if you try to just, like, instantaneously recall something. So you can, if you're like, I need to recall this exact bit of information right now, mechanically that's a much higher DC than I'm going to sit here and spend the next 8 hours just sort of, like, letting things naturally flow through my mind.
It might be worth working for a moment under the what you just said, which seems like it makes sense to me. It might be worth taking the time to try to figure out what exactly it was that they didn't want people to know. And I might have a little something that I can use to help you with that as well.
Before I accept that, what is that?
I know a little bit of magic.
Yes, I'm going to need
You-
specifics because, I trust you with magic.
It's polymorph.
I'm gonna turn you into a rabbit.
Are you going to petrify me again?
I have the ability to enhance people's natural abilities.
Oh, I was gonna say I could help with that too if you wanted, but I don't think two of us would do it. That doesn't make sense.
My spell slot's the most important.
Expanding my
what's the
already
spell slot?
immense intellect. Is rather...
It only lasts an hour, but you can be smarter for an hour.
Well, indeed, if you're capable of doing it, I will take a moment here. I'll sit in this weird, strange puppet thing. Did we leave the amphitheater?
You said you did, yes.
Oh, yes.
We're wandering the streets.
I think we should maybe. Is there a place at the academy, one of the academies that we could go to, just like to like create like a, basically like we need a study hall room.
Well, excellent.
I'm sure there's ones you can rent in the library.
Yeah.
There's literally a study hall where I go to school.
All right, let's go to the study hall.
All right, easy enough done.
That's right.
And Doran, you actually do know, although you hadn't thought of it until just now because there's just been so much going on. You actually, as an apprentice, have an office that's immediately adjacent to Affy right now. So you have your own space for this sort of thing. It's not
Does it have his name on the door?
updated or personalized in any way yet, but it is there for your use.
Can we cut a hole in the wall so you can?
No.
One of the walls would go into Affy's office, but the way that apprenticeships usually work is they kind of put the apprentice and the master side by side. There are apprentice offices on either side of Affy's because she usually takes more than one. Although currently the other is vacant, and you are able to have basically a room in Bremeraldi all to yourself.
So, back to school then.
All right. I will pull out a feather, and I will tap Doran
Wait,
on
first,
the forehead
back to
with
school.
it. What are we doing? I did my time. I am done.
I didn't do my
I
time.
avoid your feather until I'm back at the school.
Okay.
I presumed you were there.
Yeah, you are back at this at the office. That,
Do you like
you
it? 10
have.
by 10 feet, upholstered with one desk and one chair.
You could use some flowers.
Mm-hmm.
It's unnecessary.
I'm gonna feather.
Yes.
And I cast Enhance Ability, Fox's Cunning.
Dun, dun, dun. I would like the 2d6 temporary hit points instead.
Well, you don't get it, you get Fox's Cunning.
Advantage on intelligence checks. Fantastical.
For 1 hour.
I would like to go all sorts of easing through the memories.
All right, and
I want to focus on the last thoughts that Agarga had, not the last vision input, but the last thoughts as to the clear reason as to why this is occurring, as that was a supercomputer creature. I'm supposing that was its, this is justified because of these variables, blah, blah, blah.
all right, give me an intelligence roll with advantage, and this will show us how in tune, how connected to the thought process you can be.
Okay, so I apologize ahead of time. A 1 and a 3, so my advantage nets me a 7.
All right.
Wow.
Sifting through, there are a lot of thoughts of just sort of failure and loneliness, and contemplating like the existentiality of whether they are the last of their kind, the last of their kin to die, or whether their siblings are alone. It's this weird interjection of emotion on top of rational analytical thought, and where the emotion can't, you just get the sense where the emotion just sort of like beating your head against a brick wall, and that it can't connect in a way, as if this creature is discovering the severity of emotion for the first time. You do get the sense that there's a frustration in that they can't figure out why the Veshem Varu would behave the way that they do, because it is in this context not rational, and that is the last sort of thoughts before the last events you saw basically are just driving this creature to madness.
This poor creature. It was clearly in the middle of Ponfar. All right.
And that's what you get. But there is definitely something about the way that they were acting that just like this creature just couldn't process, and it didn't make any sense to them. And you get a sense that their senses extended beyond sort of just like their location, right? They had a general sort of vibe on what was going on.
Ugh, it's the worst.
Yeah.
All right. I need more time with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's too much.
I mean,
Try again.
I can Fox's Cunning you one more time today.
Well, it's good for an hour.
Yes.
I assume
mean,
it
this-
took
this-
an
I
hour.
presume
Yeah, this-
that
This process
check
is a
encompass-
long time, right?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
He's sifting through like lifetime of memories, right? So, and they're not, until you sort of get the knack of it, they don't come in any sort of chronological order, and then so you have to kind of like discern where you are in the place and time and all of that.
I mean, I can help with that today too if we wanna.
I wish there was an index. All right, let's see.
You do sense that the more you do it, the more you kind of get familiar with the ability to like go, and it's less like the first time you did it, you were like, oh, this is going to destroy my mind if I do it. Now you're like, oh, like I feel like I'm, at least able to like protect myself from just like letting it all flow in at once. So I will give you one more chance to do this, but it is going to take multiple hours. And for the purpose of this, I'll let an enhance ability like apply to the next check and all of that. But if you're willing to sit here for like 4+ hours and sift through this, you can take another attempt at it.
So Yana, I need your assistance. I'm going to need that spell that you said you can do, as well as a very large amount of sunflower seeds.
Oh, I can actually do that. I have a bag of like tons of seeds. I pull out like sunflower seeds and I hand them to you.
Okay.
Do
and
you
have
find
salt?
a certain type of
Salt.
animal to be comforting?
The far away kind.
A bird.
I'm just sitting on Doran's desk with my heels kind of kicking against one of his drawers, and I
Not
just reach
helping.
over and like tap him with the feather again on the top of his head.
So on it, create a very, very small penguin.
Don't do it.
Put it on the windowsill so it looks like it's just many miles away.
This is an internal building room. There's no internal window. That's a dumb waiter when I have to
Perhaps we
feed
should
my
create
master.
one. Perhaps put lens in the hole.
So, I'm willing to take all of the time. You guys find other things to do in between. Be productive. Be productive. Shall I
Alright.
roll?
Let's hold off on the
Hold
roll
on,
until
was
like
that-
right before we resolve.
Was that
it.
a Rhea thing or a Zilliana thing? For
You,
it?
we can use my slot because I don't want to deplete. Like we can use mine. That's fine.
You two are both like
So advantage,
Dueling
advantage,
feathers.
yeah,
That's
advantage. They're just like hitting you with feathers.
I want help and be nurturing. Damn it.
All right. So this is going to take upwards of 4 hours as Doran kind of realizes the breadth of the activity. Is there anything that anyone else wants to do during this time, or are you all going to sit here and just wait?
Stare at
think-
him.
Well, I think if it is helpful, like we're close to a library, to do if we can do any just like related research to interdimensional, like. Did we get a sense that there was anything? Well, actually, I don't even know if we know. Like, there's anything written about the Veshem in the library, or
I can't imagine.
well, it's worth it. You know, it's worth trying.
Yeah, so
you know?
I mean, the library of Bremeraldi is very much geared towards magical type things. There's definitely content on interdimensional travel and the various planes of the multiverse and all of that. Very much topics that are readily accessible there. Whether or not there's reference to the Veshem Varu, you don't know. You're guessing it's probably sparse, if any, or vague accounts that don't, like, you know, specifically call them out, but like, hey, this creature devoured this plane, or this plane no longer exists, or something like that. So
what
it is
about-
possible.
That in addition to because there's more than one of us, Sigil itself, and the dangers of Sigil and people there. Like I feel like we've gotten a little hint into it, but if we're here, we might as well use
Yeah.
the time a little
All
productively.
possible,
Empire perspective. We must conquer them.
yeah, all possible things you could find out from research, or at least gain more insight into.
Yeah, I would like to gain more insight into this.
All right. So you head to the library section of the school. Is anyone else doing anything here in this?
I am also going to go to the library.
Okay.
I
Katie-
hate the library, but I really want to know.
Katie going to the library as well.
Oh my god.
Any other things before we resolve all of these at once? None. All right. So, for those at the library, we will do a sort of combined group roll. Anyone willing to participate in this? I need an intelligence investigation roll going through. And so I've got the subjects here are Sigil and the Veshem Varu.
I have an additional one.
Yes.
I can
Those
provide bless if that helps.
It
Is
would
that-
Plus
it
only
would apply.
lasts a minute.
Well, it would. I'll let it apply to the check, right?
Okay.
In this, so
You attack the books.
So you're,
I
you're
would.
blessed.
I would
it's the
also
1 minute
like,
you're at the card catalog. Yeah.
I would also like to try to figure out a little bit more about creatures like Agariga, and then also the Infinite Staircase, the Winding Waterway of the Lower Seven, and Sigil was already on our list. So just those other two.
Kobolds with sweaters.
Kobold.
Kobolds with sweaters.
Many colored kobolds.
All right, so those of you doing research, intelligence investigation rolls, please.
Come on, Rhea.
Oh, I got
Just
7.
once. 15?
Grithkel, do you want to try to bring up the average? And there's a bless applied to all of these, remember?
Oh, right.
Or 3 of these, I guess.
So I'll make it Rhea, Doran, and Grithkel.
Doran isn't down at the library.
Well, you can pick whoever you want. It's fine. Don't worry too much about that. So pick who you want.
My office is in the back of the library. Sorry.
I won't even.
You brought down the average.
Hold on. 1d4.
You don't need that. Slap.
So we'll take a little moment sidebar here, and let me talk to the viewers at home. A little DMing tip: you never want to gate information that furthers the plot behind rolls, because if you get a whole bunch of really shitty rolls, then the plot can't move forward. So if that does happen, watch what I'm about to do, and then we'll see. Step number 1, don't gate it behind a single roll. Put it behind a mess fuckload of rolls. See, we haven't had Doran roll yet. He can reveal all the information if he rolls well, he's going to roll advantage. If he doesn't, I'm just going to fucking tell him. All right. So, behind the DM screen is over. Maybe we'll start doing these little asides here. No fudging rolls! No, we're not going to fudge rolls. We're just going to ignore them. Fudging rolls is for amateurs. Ignoring rolls is for enlightened DMs.
The key is to fudge the DC.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you come up with the DC, why would you ever need to fudge the roll?
I want fudge.
Fudge is delicious. I haven't had fudge in so long.
I know.
We digress. All right, so since these are of slightly less importance, what do we have here? We have a 6, a 7, and an 18, and a 1. All right, so we're gonna generously throw this somewhere in the 10 range. All right, going through, you gain information, basically confirms what you know about Sigil being sort of what is referred to as the center of the multiverse, whether that's true in sort of a geographical, metaphysical sense or not, yet is to be determined. But what you do know from this is that Sigil, there's a door or a portal on Sigil that connects to every other plane. So if you've got to get from one place to another, traveling through Sigil is the way to go. As to how it's run, there's a lot of sort of talk about like how ineffable the ruling creature or deity is, and reconfirms what you know, that people don't fuck around there. Like, if you're a devil, or like you could go there at a bar in Sigil and there could be like a devil and an angel sitting side by side, and their agendas just don't matter. Like, wherever you are, it's a place of neutrality essentially, and if you disrupt that, then you have problems with Sigil, and Sigil has problems with you. How that happens, you have no idea, and it's not a place that people from the material plane go or have accounts of. What were the other things that you were researching there? The various other locations. So the Infinite Staircase, and the others, where were they? Infinite Staircase, the Winding Waterway of the Lower Seven, Sigil, and you know of the Threshedron Gate already. These all do have very real references to sort of the same concept of the multiverse, and how do you move between planes in a way that's not just like teleport into another plane. All of these are the most straightforward and accessible ways to move through planes. Just like Sigil, the Infinite Staircase is this metaphysical tower in the multiverse. Its location is not exactly known, but the place that it is that every step going up this infinite staircase, and of course it is infinity tall, is a different plane, a different reality, a different way of existence. And it is thought that if you somehow comprehend the nature of this, you can walk up to the exact stair you want and step through the doorway or the passageway on that landing and step into whatever universe you deem. And since it's infinity tall, they all exist. You just have to find them. Whether or not you can traverse all the way up infinity to find your whatever, who knows. It becomes a very sort of mind-numbing intellectual puzzle. But it is a way to move through realities, through planes, in a very sort of, all the options are laid out, just find yours. The last one, the winding waterway of the lower 7, is the river Styx. It winds through the 7 lower planes, and it is by far the most understandable of all of the ways of travel. It's a river. It goes through 7 places. Those 7 places are the 7 lower planes, which include sort of the 9 hells, the abyss, and all of the goodness there in between. And goodness is not the right word. But you can, from what it is known, is you can basically contract a ferryman to take you through this. And if you want to travel the lower planes, this is the way you do it. And you buy like the sort of, group cruise rate, and you go see all the lower 7 planes.
Made of the mist.
Yeah. Oh, this is amazing! Make sure you wear your poncho when you go through the 9 hells, as the blood spray is a little intense in places. So that is the winding waterway of the lower 7. Which leaves you with the question of if these are the places that these are all the places that are sort of known as the hubs of the multiverse, right? That allow transit from one plane to another, from one reality to another, right? And so the only thing that you connect out of this research is that Agariga and their kinfolk went to each of the places that connect all of reality, all of things, all of existence together to try to do something. And the one that you talked to, Agariga, was at the Thresheedron Gate, which is this sort of polyhedral room that literally has portals that go to all of the planes of the multiverse. So they were each sent there, whether to be sentinels, whether to gather information, whether to try to destroy them, who knows. But that's where they all went, and likely where they all are in some way or another. That's what you get from your combined research. So, a little bit of exposition and lore later. Doran Geos, finally alone with your thoughts and the thoughts of an entire memory of a creature in front of you. You have advantage on your intelligence roll to determine what you can pull out from their memory. And if they're...
Mind you, I didn't actually modify my intelligence last time, so I was actually a +1 to what was... Or no, it just gives me advantage. I'm thinking old school. All right, well, here's my advantage roll.
All right.
Do you have bless too, or no?
I do.
It is with bless.
Woo!
You're clapping a 10? Thank you.
Yes, I am.
And the bless is 1d12?
Yes. Seems right.
Of course. I managed only a 15.
All right.
With all of the great rolling, so we're going to default to you just telling us, please.
All right. Well, lucky enough for you, 15 is one of my threshold DCs. So rolling below a 15 gets you one step less than rolling 15 or above. So the bless did make a difference there, as did the advantage. So you seek to push your mind in a bit further as to what is this disparity? What is this force of reckoning that just can't be reconciled inside this creature? And you immediately get the sense that this creature's sort of inability to process emotion makes them inherently flawed in their ability to process and understand the motives and actions of others, right? Because if it's not rational, then it just doesn't line up. And so once you come to that realization in your mind, starting to take what they know and remove their sort of perception of what it is and form your own, you begin to piece the pieces of the puzzle together for yourself. And one of the things that you get the sense that it knew something was coming to kill it. It just had this sort of impending sense that its existence was going to end. And that was the period at which it drained all of its thoughts into this memory string and left it there. And its intent was to leave it there for someone to do exactly what you're doing, to learn from what it had and maybe use that to save themselves and not suffer the same fate as it did. Its goal for sending it and its kinfold out to all of these places of travel was to basically serve as an early warning and alert system if the Ririkul used these means of travel.
What?
Or not the Ririkul, the...
I was like, what?
Spoiler!
Wrong
I
name.
knew it!
Sorry,
I knew I
wrong,
can't trust this.
wrong, the Veshemveru, wrong ancient
Rascal
civilization.
rises again.
The Veshemveru through... Yeah, you try reciting hours of lore from memory.
Yes,
The Veshemveru, if they come through any of these various things, their race basically has surrendered their existence to being indicators of that. And you see what that got Agarga. Agarga was trapped here by a Veshemveru, unable to leave, and essentially, in this kind of cosmic irony, as the Veshemveru believed, unable to give any of the information it was purposefully set there to go. So immediately, that doesn't seem rational to this creature. And the creature was like, well, why wouldn't they just kill me? But you get a grain that the fact that the Veshemveru have this spite in them, right? That it's not, and there was some joy in it. Like, you're trapped here, you're still alive, but you can't do what you need to do despite being in the right place. So you get this immediate sense of spite. And then upon the realization of this creature's end, that it knew it was coming, and when it happened, it was not surprised, it didn't resist, it just said, like, I know this is going to happen, there's nothing I can do, it happens, right? And in that moment of realization, the thing that it didn't understand is that if the Veshemveru knew that they were in trouble, knew that their area was a target of all of this, why wouldn't they leave? As that doesn't make sense to them, and it couldn't figure that out. And the only two things that it could come to is either A, the Veshemveru for some reason are unable to leave or are unable to interplanarly travel at the moment, and the only reason they could think of is that they are so starved that they don't have the power to do that. Or there is a supreme and this is what you come to, or is there some supreme issue of spite that they are willing to risk their very existence to stay here out of spite for something. And so either way, the Veshemveru, in the realization of Agarga, are inexplicably compromised in this moment by either their desire for spite or their inability to leave, or both. And that is what will trap them here. You also get the sense that in sifting through these memories, the Vishem Varu, all of your sort of you and your party's conjurations of them and how this entity, this race behaves are incorrect. The Vishemvaru is one thing.
All Veshemvaru is one.
All of it is one thing. And that is one of the ways it is most able to manipulate and control other creatures who don't have the concept of this oneness of mind. And that there is no, these dozen creatures are Veshemvaru. If there's a dozen creatures that appear, they are Veshemvaru. They're all the same. And those are the realizations you get from the memories.
So that is to say, if I'm understanding you, which is 50-50 maybe, as a player, the Veshemvaru doesn't fit our current definitions, even in the idea of aspects. For example, we did theorize, at least at one point, that Traumarn and I see. Wait. The singer lady, were I don't know why her name's
Vela.
gone. Yeah, that's the one. Is it? We're both the same creature, but like slightly different versions or aspects, and so that doesn't match up at all. They are exactly the same thing if they are all Veshemvaru.
That is how you would interpret it. Much akin to as if Rhea has her reflection and something hurts her reflection, hurts her. It's the same thing.
Okay.
And that entity can be split among as many things or as few things as it wants.
I don't suppose I rolled high enough to know if a distributed situation is happening, if it's a fraction of capability, or is it all 100% at all locations?
You don't know.
Don't know. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, just that is sort of like it's just this fundamental understanding thing that just sort of like it wasn't clear in the verbal speech in the information that you had exchanged previously. But when you kind of just get into the subconscious of Agarga, you're just like, oh, I kind of get it now.
Okay. And we did know that they were mostly hunted down and destroyed, and there are very few left. Or, I'm sorry. Well, that's weird because all iterations are one. So it actually escaped in entirety, even though it was mostly destroyed, which is weird.
Right.
Okay, whatever.
And that, I mean, you do get from this realization that is the strength of this parasite, right? It can be a million things or it can be one thing. And unless you kill it in its entirety, it persists.
So, then we are really relying on this Oculus, because if we can't anchor all of them, if one gets away out of a million, then all of them get away. So
you do know from your interpretation of it, much like the way Rhea's reflection works, if you bind any part of it, you're binding all of it.
Right. So that's why we're relying on that. Yeah, I'd already theorized.
Yeah.
Okay. So I come out of my little...
So, like, you don't have to gather everything.
And I need a drink because I've eaten 700 sunflower seeds. So I'm like, oh, no. I mutter something about this is way above my pay grade. And I'll go find the others eventually.
Rhea is napping on a book.
Actually, first thing I do, characteristically, is completely report all of this to my favorite little mentor.
All right.
Right in the next room.
And Effie does listen intently to all of this. Well, with that information, what is your next step?
To lure the Veshemvaru to one location, as was initially our our guesswork seems to still be in line with action. We weren't sure if we could find it. I'm more sure now. And we weren't sure how many there were, but now we realize there is only one, regardless of how many there are. The binding is the only way to ensure that they are all here. Now, whether they're here for spite, because they were shooed out of sigil, and they want sigil to be then some sort of instrument of destruction for them, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. The creature's perspective was limited as it was bound, but...
Perhaps I have a hypothesis. The Empire does delve ever deeper into the multiverse. As you're aware, we have been sending forces from the Empire to great success to other planes.
Huzzah for the Emperor.
Of course.
Empress.
Should Sigil strike a target so near and dear to the heart of the Empire, what do you conjecture would be the next step?
Well, likely the Empire won't like that.
And knowing our Empire, what would that result in?
Conflict, of course. Mind you, besides yourself and a few key other individuals, I can't imagine much could stand to the very little I know about Sigil. But Sigil is apparently if not the most formidable of possible opponents.
Well, then you make one tragic mistake in judgment. And that's misunderstanding the magnitude and the will of the Empire.
Well, I mean, I very much support the Empire, so I'm looking forward to our continued successes in multiverses, regardless.
Well, then perhaps these Veshem Varu that we know so little about have the same faith in the Empire that you and I do.
So they're trying to get back at Sigil. Well, there were some irrationalities according to our friend Agaraga. I suppose that's a very viable one.
They're... As unfortunate as the plight of that creature was, it is, I suppose, not something intellectually that we can consider. I would... don't believe I'm saying this, but perhaps an alliance of sorts is easier to negotiate than an extermination.
So, do we have a diplomat in Sigil?
No.
Okay, I will.
I didn't mean with Sigil.
I jest.
I meant with the Veshem Varu.
Oh, well, that doesn't sound very rational, aren't they?
They are a threat to us now, but if we could perhaps convince the forces that threaten us from Sigil that they are neutralized, then we could have a strong ally there. And the center of the multiverse certainly sounds like something the Empress would perhaps see as a nice cornerstone from which to extend imperial rule. But if you think that extermination is possible, I think that is perhaps a cleaner way to do this. And I think, and this is where I often get in trouble, decisions of this nature are not best made by those at the top of the food chain, but those at the bottom, such as yourself.
2 steps above the bottom. I used to be a student. Now I'm an apprentice. But yes, I think think they are rather dangerous. A subjugation would be probably a better thing than some sort of alliance. The Empire doesn't have equals in this place. Why would we assume there would be in this situation?
Very
Of
true.
course, I'm not a politician.
Well, that is why I trust you with things like this. Politicians see only the best for themselves. Those without a political mind often consider others, which there are many others here to consider. Either way, we need to neutralize the Veshembaru, whether that's by convincing them to hide or lay low, or by exterminating them. Perhaps it doesn't matter, but I think our real threat is from Sigil, not from the Veshembaru. As tragic it would be if hundreds of thousands of people died, the Empire would go on if Vesular were crushed. The Veshemvaru threaten thousands of people. That's a smaller number by orders of magnitude.
Exponentially, however, that is the beginning.
Well, if they strike at that, the full brunt of the Empire will be targeted towards them, and I dare say that we could exterminate them, but there's a chance here for some other manipulation, some other gain. I would need more time to think on it, but these are the problems that we at Bremeraldi are here for. This is what we are supposed to solve. Things that delve into the arcane but affect the entire empire. The great minds of Bremeraldi have been put to these problems, and I dare say that if you wish to count yourself amongst them, then starting to help solve them is a good first step.
Well, I'll definitely gather my companions and we'll move forward toward binding the Veshemvaru. If the Empire deems it is a political boon to then treat with them, we will have at least quite the advantage, as we are in the same boat. We are here. But, I get the worst feeling just now. So then, I think my course of action doesn't change, at least in the immediate get-go. I don't know enough about their nature to say whether we can then consider them as a spiteful creature, especially. It may then just consume this place as much as it could because it is stuck here. Self-destructing is, I dare say, one of the most spiteful things something can do. So I will put it to the party. I trust them. They all have very interesting and different perspectives. I don't always agree with their perspectives, but it is
Those are typically
a strength of diversity. So.
Yes. The best companions to have are those you don't agree with. If everyone agrees with you, then you all end up dead with the same bad idea.
So with your leave, or with your permission, I'll take my leave.
Figure it out. I expect good things.
As always, I'm at your disposal.
Good luck, Jornd.
Yes, I'm very thirsty. Leave the office and try to find the others. I think they said something about a library.
You find several of them asleep in the library, others looking at a pile of books somewhat glazed over, all clearly out of their depth, but
I'm kind of holding one
doing
like
their
upside
best.
down.
I'm asleep. Even though I don't sleep.
Girthcall and I have taken to like flicking pieces of paper at each other.
The little
Yeah,
triangles.
like the.
They're getting bigger and bigger now.
Well, this is a sight I never thought I'd come to see.
I flick one of the triangles and it hits Girthcall in the forehead.
What did you discover?
I do not know how to read.
What kind of tree do you think this book used to be?
One made of wood.
Well,
like,
I learned
where
a little
does it
bit more
live?
about locations. So mostly that.
Oh yeah, location's important. Proximity, a big deal with most everything, actually.
So I learned a bit more about Sigil and the Infinite Staircase and the winding waterway of the Lower Seven.
Oh, is there a connection to the Veshamburu then?
Just in the, I mean, they're the easiest ways to get between planes without involving teleportation magic. So, I mean, I guess if the Vishemveru wanted to travel, those are the easiest ways to do it.
Dorant, you also do realize immediately at her mention of teleportation magic, they are also untraceable ways to transit.
Oh, well, yes, that's the way to get lost in the great beyond of all things.
So if I have a bad performance, I can go to the infinite staircase and find the stair that will lead me to a different reality where I can have a good performance.
You should definitely go to another reality. I agree.
Maybe I
You
should.
could also go to a reality where you already did a good performance, and another reality where you don't exist at all.
I don't want to go there.
It's
Or
not
you
some
could
sort of
spend your-
hollow deck. You can't
Yeah.
just.
Or you could spend your
Ugh.
entire life looking for that stair and never finding it.
That'd be sad.
A voice in the back of my head says, I am not going to do that.
That would be a really fun campaign.
Well,
This one?
luckily,
Roll a D1, roll a D infinity for me. Nope, that's not the one.
so libraries are used to hushed voices, so gathering this shouldn't look so suspicious. This is what I've discovered from the memories that was granted to me by the creature. The Veshamburu are one thing, not in opposition to itself at all. All extensions are the entirety of a Veshamburu. There is no known limit to how many extensions it could have. The only way to ensure any kind of sway over a Veshamburu is their own device, which locks it entirely in one planar location.
So it's less that there are Veshemveru as it is that there is a Veshemveru.
Correct. It is both. It is a bit of a paradox. It is absolutely a multitude of things that are all one thing. It is the sum of its own parts and its own division. So, but
You've made it
certainly-
more confusing, but I take your point.
yes,
did
it
you
is
get this-
confusing. It's not something that naturally occurs here, at least.
Can there be a great distance between them? Between the sprouts, if you will?
Yes, but I have no knowledge on whether those things can span different realities. I dare say that consumption of an entire reality would likely require the entire, or a singularity of, I don't. The creature that was pursuing the Veshamburu and their purposes here, specifically at the different locations that you just mentioned, were to serve as warnings to others as what the capabilities of the Veshamburu could do. That's why the Veshamburu spitefully locked it in place here, denying its own ability to do what it is intended to do, as opposed to destroying it. But now so close to some culmination that then decided to kill it. It's quite the little above our pay grade situation, but there's an opposing thought that possibly the Veshamburu aren't the greatest threat, and that given a chance to treat with it, we might limit the damage it does, and then also protect ourselves from the incurring or at least mounting threat from Vigil. As make no mistake, that Vigil representative, absolutely, it wasn't even a threat. It was matter of fact about the destruction of a city in order to destroy these things at our cost, at our citizens' cost, at the lives of mortals. And such lack of consideration is not going to be pleasing to the Empire. And in an act of that, if they act upon that, that will be open war. as you're probably all well aware.
Okay, and how exactly is letting the Vishemvaru continue here stop any of that?
I only can say that a binding would then prove to Sigil that they are no longer threatened. So my initial idea, if we bind the Vishemvaru, Sigil has no reason beyond its own spitefulness, which is possible, to then consider or to continue to destroy. There's so many different little layers to this, I dare say. It's like an onion.
Does it feel weird that to make a treaty with an entity that the last three of a particular kind dedicated their life and demise to locking up gates, that this is something we'd want to do a treaty with?
It depends on your version of the righteousness of those that chose to warn against them.
That doesn't mean
For example, were there
problems.
three demons that were sworn to try to stop the efforts of the Veshemvaru? Would we treat the Veshemvaru as enemies just because these demons were so dedicated to that? It's hard to say, right? Perspective, but we don't have it.
Setting aside questions of morality, do we have any reason to believe that Sigil will find a binding to be enough to satiate them? Because I remember a conversation with Lycia where she said that she does this because she likes it.
But that's not her role. Is to
Her role is an exterminator.
Her role is a scout. I dare say the extermination comes from Sigil itself. If she, and
not
I
to
believe that
break
she
character
can't
for a
just-
second, but I have traveling exterminator in quotes.
Okay, assassin then. But
Even if this was case, I do not think she would necessarily do so without the go-ahead of like their leader person, right?
Yes, which she clearly already has since she went back to prepare to destroy an entire city in order to remove the Vishemvaru.
Doran, from the memories, you get the sense that Sigil is a place of supreme neutrality, and the only time it takes action is if something threatens its ability to be neutral.
right. So therefore, logically, and again, extreme neutrality doesn't mean without spite, but logically, no threat means no reaction.
But binding them to this plane, my impression was that she would stop if the Vishemvaru were already dead, not she would stop if the Vishemvaru were bound.
No more threat, no more response. However, that then makes the Veshemvaru only one thing, and that is our enemy, as they cannot no longer travel.
Okay.
I think that's my personal opinion. They may see it differently. I don't always know the motivations of other creatures, Katia. So,
I do have a few questions.
go on. Please, by all means.
Before we get derailed by that, just let me finish my thought here. Because if what you're saying is true, then our options are we bind the Veshemvaru and nothing else, which leaves the Veshemvaru, which means Sigil, for the moment, goes away. They don't care anymore.
Bows out.
Bows out. And the Veshemvaru are now our enemy, which means that we can't treat with them, and we're going to have to kill them because they're going to try to kill us.
The only exception to that would be, of course, they would now know their own mortality and may be willing to treat to come up with some sort of symbiotic relationship as opposed to parasitic. It might not be within their capabilities to do so, and it might not be within their demeanor to do so. But it's not outside possibility.
Sure, but it would also put us in a position where if you treat with the Veshemvaru, that means that you have the rattlesnake in one hand and you have your arm over here, and you're like, well, okay, I've made this deal with this rattlesnake, and I'm just gonna like kind of stick the rattlesnake right on my pulse point and just presume it's gonna be fine because I made a deal with the rattlesnake.
That happened.
Thank you, Katie.
We'll come back to that in a second. Because I have some questions.
She's like, I got 3 in my arm right now.
What are you talking about? These are
The
my
snake
arm
cultist.
snakes.
The snake cultists had snakes in their arms, literally.
That's
Yeah,
true.
this is-
But my point is just that, okay, so the Vishemvaru know their own mortality. We make some sort of deal with them, which they hold right up until the point where they get hungry and they snack on people. Or else we're making a deal where we're purposefully feeding them people, which is also bad.
Well, it doesn't have to be people. We consume animals.
Nothing that we've seen so far suggests that the Vishemvaru are particularly interested in cows.
No, not currently. They're particularly interested in increasing their power. But knowing that that would eventually destroy them, they may come to the realization that they should meter their own consumptions. Again, I don't know if it's within their capability or demeanor. I'm not to say either.
Okay,
But to give the politicians a chance, at least, we don't necessarily have to kill them. I also defer to the party's opinion on that, because we shall be binding them. There is no question that has to occur. Diplomacy cannot occur unless we are equals, and we are currently not.
But
I don't-
sorry, go on.
So knowing that they're one thing and there's like roots or whatnot, I know this sounds like a silly thing to get hung up on, but do all of those roots look the same? Like, is it all like, would they all look like Bella, or
They're
would it be that-
shapeshifters.
Okay, so here's the thing. Trelmarn and Bella, have we decided, like, are they connected? And are some of the roots coming up from Trelmarn, all his villagey cronies?
Because of what I've learned, that actually doesn't matter anymore. If we link and if we contain one, we contain the one in all forms through all distribution.
So my question is, let's grab one of the cronies.
That's
Buy
assuming
them.
the crony is it versus
Right.
an actual crony.
Yeah, I just mean, it was just a thought, because those don't seem as powerful as Bella.
But they are.
It might
You
be-
understand? How do I put this? All versions and distributions are 100% of the creature we know to be one Vishemvaru. Consider it not the name of a race anymore, but the name of an individual with
Yeah.
strange. Right. So anything we capture will be the exact same as any other thing we capture, if it so chooses to be. It may currently possess, like I'm just a butler, kobold with a coat, that I live in this mansion. But it might not be that at all if it chooses not to be. And I dare say it's just a ruse. It's a way of manipulation.
It's
Okay.
it's like there's look. I'm not a book
Yes,
person
no.
the way Dorand is, but what I do know is I know gardening, and there are some kinds of plants where their roots spread out all over underneath the ground, and it's all hidden underneath the soil. But every so often they'll poke up, and so you'll plant one of these things, and you'll decide that you want to get rid of it. And so you'll pull some of it up, and you'll be like, okay, I'm done. It's over. And then yards and yards away, something else will poke up, and you'll think it's something completely different, but in reality, it isn't. It's just the same plant again. So it's like that. The Veshemvaru is just that root structure underground, and the sprouts are Velibres or the Kobold or Trelmarn.
And the only one we can
There's a
guarantee
weaker one.
the location to.
It's all the plant. It's all
Yeah.
the same plant.
It's a good analogy.
This would be a simile. I'm using it is like a plant.
But is it? Wait, that's fine.
I also know poetry. Poetry and plants. That's all I've got going for me. And swords.
So we can at least set up the meeting, lock one in. I can offer the strand as bait. As you can see, it took me a great considerable amount of time to peruse the memories. So we would have the Vesham Varu in a space long enough to use the Oculus. So long as the Oculus is far enough away and easily not to be noticed. Because if it's up in the face, that's not going to work.
I know this sounds weird, but like, why would they like you give them the strand and they're like, "Cool, I'll look at it right now."
Because
Like, why wouldn't they just go?
because they are this is a personal opinion, but they are arrogant. You realize that even given the threat of a demonic backlash through the Balthier fellow, she's like, I'm just going to go on and do my thing. I don't think that the Vesham Varu, and it's the only thing I think we have an advantage for. I don't think the Vesham Varu still consider us much of a threat. Hubris.
Did have us all over for dinner.
Well, I have an alternative theory to that, but let's not get into that because that's 7 more hours of discussion.
All right.
Can I start?
Just remember, it's a library. Keep your voice down. Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, who did you mean by cronies, Ileana?
Like all those people he taught
The
magic.
Griffin.
magic to.
Okay, I just wanted to
Yeah,
make
yeah,
sure
yeah,
that we were on the
yeah,
same
yeah,
page.
yeah.
Also, out of character, Norn, did you say Affy came up with this little theory here of doing a little dealy deal, or
No, I said it was an alternative thought process.
okay, so you
Whatever I
did
said.
not mention Affy. Okay,
No, I did that very much on purpose because I know you.
okay, this reduces time. Okay, so, yeah. So we do think that Marn is a Vesham Varu, which means that all the
Doesn't
people he
matter.
taught magic to are Vesham Varu as well.
No.
No, how not?
It's not. I would say Vela's the only one that we definitely know that is.
Right.
That's the only concrete one that we know.
How do
The
you
other
know
one
that?
is conjecture, reasonable conjecture, but not positively.
Durant, with your sort of time spent on this and your sort of base level intelligence, you would conjecture that strategically it doesn't with vulnerability extended out to all points, it doesn't make sense for a Vesham Varu to be a million different things, right? Because that's a million sort of points of vulnerability.
Assuming it thought it was vulnerable at all.
Right. So the safer it feels, the more things it will be, essentially.
Right.
But you don't know what is incorporate, like, you don't know what the process is of creating another, sproutling, to use Dora's metaphor. But the more things it is, the more vulnerable it is.
I think Marn is a Vesham Varu. So, by extension, the people he's taught magic to is Vesham Varu.
I disagree with that assessment.
But I think that he is. I really do. Of my true, deepest dark soul, think he is Vesham Varu.
Well,
Interesting phrasing.
Yes.
We can find out by that, by the reaction to binding.
If he's
Bellabri's.
not, I really don't understand why he wants Bella dead so badly that he would try and get us to kill her. What? How do you make? What motive? Huh?
But it's one entity. It makes it like we have to double back on what we talked about before. It makes no sense for a root to kill part of its own self.
Marn is Vesham fucking Varu. I just know it.
And
There's
so
no
it is
way.
canon.
But I guess here's the thing: we can't dwell in terms of what we need to do right now in these next few sessions. We can't dwell on that. We have to move forward with what we kind of know more concretely now.
I mean, also, why would more evidence to this for me is he left the theater instead of helping because why? Would that expose him as being connected to Vela physically?
Why would a plant want to kill itself?
Hate does weird things.
I think that the only argument for this would be that they're playing a long game where they're ultimately trying to play us and the city. That's the only reason the Trollmord would try to contract us to kill Vela. I'm not saying that that's what's going on. I'm just saying that if you're going to make an argument for him being Veshem Varu, the only thing that makes sense is if if their rivalry and their hatred for each other is a ruse.
Possible. I mean,
You're muted, Tamora, if you're saying
it
things.
is so strange that they've both been in the same locations multiple times.
I don't know how that happened.
I
blame my cat.
I guess what I'm saying is, let me say, I don't know the answer. So I'm not saying it's wrong, but in terms of what we need to act on right now, I don't think we should get sidetracked by him right now. Does that make sense?
Agreed.
Especially because if he is Veshem Varu and we Oculus Vela, then we have Oculus him. Because that's how they work.
If anything, he might be from another plane that, whatever. But I think that we just need to focus in one place.
This is my suggestion. I am absolutely open to criticism of it and or alterations. But step one for me, to extract the memories or create a copy of the strand. Step two, have the Praetor inform the Veshem Varu of the location of the strand, which will, right now, for lack of better place, will be the amphitheater because there's a nice handy map for it. Step three, we will have in place the map. We will let the creature investigate the strand. We will use the Oculus to bind the creature. We must succeed, as all magic can be technically resisted. We must use any methods we can to ensure the Oculus takes hold. If it does not, we have lost. I am out of steps. I guess step 4 is to determine whether this is becoming violence and we need to defend ourselves, or whether it becomes something more of a cowed situation where dialogue can then happen. That is what I currently have. I am, of course, willing to defer to your tactical prowess, both Grothkul and
Rhea.
Rhea.
Thanks, Doran.
I was like, and Dora. Wait, no. And the multiple Tebrins. I mean,
Tebra,
all
I
your
mean
characters
Arisha,
have multiples.
I mean Aurelia.
There's so many versions of every one of you. You are the Veshem Brew.
I am the Bishop. All of my I am the root system, and my PCs are just my insecurities that sprout up in slightly different forms.
The other reason, I mean, like, what he has dedicated his expenses to this inventor who has created something for, and the invention. What if it is that they cannot leave?
Kid, I'm not
Kadia.
discounting it, but we need to focus on the next action. That's the
I
point.
think
Kadia,
that Doran has a good plan.
Kadia, if you could have free reign to do the plan that you wanted to do, what would it be?
Kill Tramarn.
So do you think that we should be doing what we're doing now on Trelmarn instead of Velabris? Or do you think Velabris also needs to be dealt with?
Unclear.
I
Why
witnessed
is it
Velabree's
unclear?
murder.
Shake the 8-ball.
Okay.
I witnessed
so,
her murder.
Try again later.
Shapeshifters! I can't say that any more times than I've already said.
Okay, well, alright, so how do we
Planted
know
memory.
how do we know that it is not Trelamarn Cash that is being shapeshifted into?
Because I don't
Ah,
like
yes.
him.
Understood. So just as long as we have made it clear that it is all based on who we do or do not
Okay.
like.
Yes, of course.
So I'm going to add one thing that I think has been missing in all of this. The end of next session will be the beginning of the festival. What you do between now and then is up to you. But that is the sense of
Rude.
yeah.
That's rude.
So
All right.
I'm very
And-
rude right now.
Should do this. Yes.
you will know that the beginning of the festival starts with the unveiling of the feature device.
Okay. I think the Doran.
rip my hair out.
That will be
good plan.
Yeah, that will be not not the next session, but the beginning of the session after that will be the unveiling of that device chronologically. So whatever you want to get done between now and then, which is like a few days, has to happen next session.
I think that Doran has a good plan, and that we should this week communicate with each other in the Discord to figure out any of the finer. I know that this is asking a lot from us.
Okay,
Oh, me
last
and
question,
Christopher
Casey,
don't
mechanically. Amphitheater, just because it would help us a great deal. Walk in, rised up bleacher system, but is the land behind, is it built into a hill with that version? Or is it built above all of the land and it just towers at the back?
So right now
Like
it
a
is
Coliseum deal.
it's pretty much on relatively flat land. There are other buildings out and around it. If you're looking for another building out off the one to the south of it, does rise up about 5 stories. There are windows there.
Perfect.
You can
I
go
also
there.
I have levitation, so I put myself above
Yeah.
something. If it's already distant, the residuum shouldn't matter if we're offering up the strand.
Yeah. Across the street, there isn't really anything that would see over that, raised up front section really into the amphitheater itself. Because the amphitheater itself does extend maybe about 2 stories up-ish there. So it's hard to see over and down in. And you don't necessarily have to do it there. There happens to be a map there because that was the one word that was said in the planning of this. So you got amphitheater. You may surmise that
It's as good a place as any.
Yeah, you may surmise that if you say another location, you may get a map of another location. But the plot will definitely thicken, I can assure you, once the festival begins. We're at the 3.5 hour mark of streaming now.
Don't ask for a
Honestly, my
timestamp.
brain kind of feels like it's breaking. So, which is why I suggested like having the discussions over the course of the week, and so then we could. Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
It's so well timed every time.
I'm like, no, I will not sign an autograph. Go away.
So we can figure out exactly what we're going to do, and then set our plans in motion at the beginning of next session. Because I think that what Doran just said makes a lot of sense, and I think is a good solid plan. So we can work out the finer details of it, and then do it when my brain isn't leaking out my ears.
That's the general goal of most of my campaigns.
Yeah, my general goal in life, really.
You're happy to plan now. If you want to talk, we can sort of step out of the roleplay realm and you can discuss. But whatever happens is going to happen next session, or all of the events that are in motion are going to happen. You're going to be in the reacting phase.
This was good. I feel like, because coming into this session, I felt like I was missing too much information to be able to make decisions, and it feels like we got a lot of really good information this session that has clarified many things, or at least made me feel like things have been clarified, which is always a dangerous feeling in Casey's campaigns. But at least I now feel like I have a solid footing on which to make decisions, for better or worse.
Okay, if you feel that way, Holly, go ahead and ruin that. Go ahead.
Want to ruin anything.
Oh,
I
oh.
just want
I see.
someone else.
I
to
just
feel
wanna-
like
to
Katie
murder
feels.
Tromar Kesh.
I just
I
want to
actually
kill
think-
all these NPCs. Like, let's just go down the list.
Katie just wants
Death to everyone.
Katie does want to bind the Vela, but she wants everyone else
To
to have
die.
the same theory as she does, that Trelmarn is like the
Well,
Vashon.
What better way
There
to
is
prove it
no the
than by-
Vash-
I know. That's why
There
it
is
makes things
only the
confusing.
Veshamburu.
I mean,
Yes.
but they are the same. He is it.
But what
Yes,
better
but
way
so
to...
is she.
Hang on.
Yes.
What better way to prove it than by binding her?
There isn't. I mean, this is fine. Katie is all
Yes.
for it. She just wants someone else to have the same feeling that she does.
That's impossible.
don't
Katia
think
is like 90%
Katia.
feelings by volume.
Yeah, Katia, imagine what you're gonna feel when it turns out you're right.
Amazing.
Right.
Or rub it
So
in everybody's
wait,
face.
Wait for that moment. Don't try to persuade us now.
No, you
Rub
have
it in
to
our
know.
face
you have
later.
to know now.
I
You
feel
have
like
to know
isn't there
now.
like a wrathful paladin that you can like multi-class into?
No,
Because-
paladins get killed. They get disintegrated. It's just a thing.
Wait, isn't Crucible a paladin?
Yeah.
Yeah. Guess what's coming?
I was just trying to think of a righteous fury that that Katia could cling on to.
It might be a barbarian's rage. I don't know.
That's true. Yeah, maybe a barbarian.
Barbarian.
I have a really crazy idea.
Ooh, let's do it.
No, Casey, you're not a player. Stop.
No,
What
no,
is your
this is
crazy
it's a
idea?
crazy
I love it.
it's a crazy
Let's-
DM idea.
Okay, do it.
As you all sit on the cusp of this, I will up the stakes on the other side, and you all get a milestone. You all get a milestone now, and that'll increase your.
finding a way to go to the level we need to not die.
And that will no, I just think it will increase your ability to be able to plan and pull this off. So I'll give you a milestone now, but like
Okay.
when this goes through, you're not gonna get it you're not gonna get yet another milestone for doing it.
So we're pre-milestone.
Front loading
yet.
it. Yeah.
We're front loading it.
So
With-
this is like a quarter milestone. Excellent.
Well, it's not a quarter milestone.
We
I
started
would say
around the track. We haven't finished the race.
you are one session away from now either putting your plan into motion and gaining control of the situation, or
Or setting our plan into motion and
Gaining
losing
control.
control of the situation.
yeah, or like whatever happens next session, the world, the continent, the empire as you know it will not be the same. By the end of the next session, something dramatically will change. I give you one level.
Yes, please.
Okay. I mean, I'm never one to
Can we
turn
get
down
two?
levels.
My stuff like my next druid thing bumps up at 6, so that's why
Are you sure? No take backs.
No takebacks. I
No
can make
passes.
anything as hard or as easy as I want, so it's not really an issue for me. But I feel like it will give you guys a little bit of confidence to do something.
If you guys don't want to get disintegrated, stay next to me from now on. Do not leave my side.
Oh, God bless. I get a second attack.
So in character, I'm going to bow out. I'm going to see my master and have her either extract. I would prefer extract a copy of the strand from me, and or recreate the strand or a dummy strand, etc., whatever. Whatever the Affy Praetor would be
So,
capable
I mean,
of.
creating a dummy memory strand is easy. One that just doesn't have anything, but is just
No,
a
I need it
thing.
to have
Yeah,
a lot of things in it because
Yeah.
I need it to sit still.
So creating, it would be a work of the end circle. So you'd have to go subject yourselves to them, as you remember from last campaign who they are. The sort of, high divinists there. They can they can either create a false memory, strand, whatever, which will take a little bit of time for them to do convincingly, but it can be done. But has the potential to be, recognized as false.
Yeah, that's the
Based
problem.
on some scrutiny. So it's sort of like a rolling situation there to see if that works. So there's that option. They can directly copy the strand.
Copy perfect. That's what I'll give her.
However, there's no way now to separate it with your memories and your interactions of it. So there is a chance that also in there they get some chunk of you, which
I'm okay with
includes
that because-
which includes all of these discussions and everything.
I'm okay with that because.
So those are the
without
two
it-
options,
Yeah.
and there's no like it is now like merged in with your memory. So there's no way to like just like neatly pick it out.
Right. Because if the Vesh and Brew start looking at my childhood, trust me, it's going to be a snooze fest. So, oh look, he studied another thing.
Oh,
He
great!
got
Another
excited about protecting his pens.
Maybe the Vishem will get so lost in Kadia's conspiracy theories that it'll just like spiral.
Like they get out of it, they're like, "You're Veshem Baru."
I'll ruin your reputation.
Yeah, they just snap out of it. Where are they? They're everywhere.
I did ruin his reputation.
So
So yeah, so those are the two options there. So it sounded like you wanted to pick out the real thing and make a real copy.
oh yeah. It's okay if they're pissed as long as we succeed.
As long as they're stationary while they're pissed.
Right. Correct. It's I'm willing to get the jig is up at that point. But it would also know that my conversation about possible treating with them would be included. So why not?
All right.
It might also include where I want to subjugate them. But
Cool.
that's
Yeah.
what I'm doing.
And we will do just so you guys know and can plan mechanically, since it sounds like it's going to come down to trying to get whomever you choose to stay in a stationary place and in subject to something that they don't see. First of all is whether or not they determine it's a trap, essentially, which will be a series of rolls. And then while they're there, we'll basically do a one for each of you. So there'll be 5. It will be a best of 5 contest. And so
Skill check challenges.
yep. And so
Have skill checks.
I have an idea.
we'll go through there. So if each of you want to come up with a way for you to, for your character to, encourage them to sit there, or whether Doran's thing could be this memory thing, there'll be a set of skill checks there. And so first 1 to 3 will succeed. So it means you can fail twice.
I have an idea regarding we're like slightly worried they'll notice because it's a magic ritual / item, right? With residuum.
Yeah, because the whole jig could be up
So-
before the thing is. If they come in,
Right.
there's just like the giant Oculus.
Okay, so what if we had so there's a whole bunch of people, right, that have alert magic, citizen-wise. So, what if, like, a reason for there being a bunch of residuum around was, oh, we have all of these citizen people, and we're teaching them cantrips for the purposes of a theatrical event. So, all this residuum is them learning prestidigitation and stuff for like magical effects. Because if there's a lot of people around all casting magic and there's residuum everywhere, it like
Yeah, it'll camouflage it.
camouflages the fact that there's now residuum from the magic item. With the trade-off being all those people are going to die horribly and it'll be all our fault.
I do like the idea of camouflaging it with other magic.
Yeah,
I'm not
could be
positive
another way
is
to
the way
camouflage
is the way to go with that, but I do like the idea of camouflaging it with other magic.
So we just have to have Ziliana and Kadia running around spamming cantrips.
I
Normal
have
gameplay
something.
continues.
I have something. So I have this thing. 1 second. Let me find which one it is.
Oh, I got a good idea for somebody. I guess I'll be doing the ritual though.
So you can set the Oculus up to like do its thing and activate and focus on a point and then leave it. And but if any
All right, we gotta go.
Once it's set up and focused and going, its target is its target, right? So if anyone stops in there for 10 minutes or more, they get subject to the effect, right?
So I assume Kadia is the best at persuasion somehow. Nope, never mind. Take it back.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
+7. And
So-
performance.
My point there, Timur, is you don't have to stand there and do it. You can set it up ahead of time.
Right. That's exactly what I would do.
Yeah.
Soon as the target's in place, I'd start it and then rejoin everyone.
Cool. Well, a couple of things to think about between now and then. And I'll expect a plan by, like, the weekend. And then we will set it in motion.
You're getting it Monday morning.
Well,
Can we
then
please do it by Friday? Because
Yes.
Okay, next Friday.
I can guarantee you that the
Casey, the
percentage
fetus.
the percentage that it will be included in the session will be directly proportional to the amount of time I have to prepare. So we will see. And so this is your homework. It can go as good as not, depending on your preparation. And you have one level to play with there. That's where we'll end for tonight, with the onus on you 5 to save Vesular and not annihilate this city from canon.
So us.
No
though.
promises.
It's so us.
It is. Maybe we'll make another lich. I know there haven't been any liches involved yet, but I feel in my heart our ability to summon a lich.
Don't worry, Act 1 of my campaigns always end the same way. Creating
You're gonna betray us.
creating the adversary for Act 3.
nice.
Tebron would be happy though if Vampire was dead.
Tevrin's still alive. You can go find him.
What vampire?
Which one though? Can we find the other Tevin?
Vampire?
Oh, can we do vampires? I'll do vampires.
No, wait. Please explain what you're talking
No, I think this doesn't merit explanation. I think this is good.
Who said vampire?
The vampire kobold with the vest who lives in...
No. Clearly, Holly said vampire, so it's got to be Tebrin's
Yeah.
family.
What?
There are multiple emotional vampires in Tevrin's family.
Well,
I never said vampire.
this
What
has
did you
been a
I said
very...
the Empire.
Oh,
Oh.
Empire. This has been a
Oh, no,
very
I was
non-conventional
messaging Cookie.
sessions.
I was
But-
I was messaging Cookie while Doran was talking to Affy, and the last message that I sent her was, "My inner Tebrin is climbing the fucking walls."
Which inner Tebrin? Because you had
The good or the bad one?
the good and the slightly less good.
The good and the edgy one? The good and the edgy and the evil
edgy
one?
one and the edgier one.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you all for having existential crisis to my pleasure. That's basically the only reason I do D&D. It's good. 30% of the cards are out on the table now, which should be enough for you to make a decision, maybe. And
fish.
there is time pressure here. 5 is a not too great HP roll, but don't worry, you won't need HP where you're going.
So sad.
Yes, take a moment. Cool. So you guys have your work cut out for you. I will facilitate. If you have any questions, Discord is a good way to do it. I recommend starting sooner rather than later. And next episode will be Turning Point. And I will be prepared to end it on the cliffhangeriest of cliffhangers possible. depending on what's going on. So
Wait.
So things I need from you is sort of time, place, how to get who you want there, all of those things, and then any setup. And we can arrange all of those things. I'm willing to like make and share maps ahead of time so we can plan. And we'll start next session with you guys explaining exactly what your plan is. And then we'll play it out and see what happens for all the marbles. Maybe you'll even get another level.
You just
That
said
would
we
be
wouldn't.
I know. But I said maybe. Cool. Well, thank you everybody for watching. It was a bit of an unconventional session with our slightly late start and our, whatever it was for the session. It was good. Just follow us on Twitter at ROLL20. Check out our website, ROLL20.com, for back episodes if you want to figure out how the fuck we got here. I don't even remember. There are a bajillion clues that have been overlooked in all those previous episodes. If you want to go back and put them all together and send Holly a DM.
Holly. Don't
Send Holly a DM or something.
Tweet at me.
Yeah, we can do this. What else is there? Big thank you to Kevin MacLeod for his amazing music. We had a couple in here. We had Upbeat Forever. That's how we started with our ska impromptu song performance from Cadia. We also had Almost Bliss. Otherwise, what was the other one that we had? I believe it was... where was it? Ancient Rite for quite a bit in there. And Air Prelude was also played tonight. So check those out. Just search for Kevin MacLeod and you get tons of royalty-free music, which is great, given all of the wonders that Twitch has going on now. Thanks to Roll20 for having us as part of the Spotlight program. And until next time, pause because I have one more announcement. Thursday, check out Lions and Crows as we embark on, I think, another chapter. I think we're at like a chapter mark there.
Maybe.
Going off into some other. Oh no, we're at a dragon fight.
There you go.
It's a dragon fight. Sort of a little. I think that's like the first step in a new chapter there. So you want to see us fight a dragon?
About the dragon fight?
110%.
Yes.
We're literally fighting a dragon next session.
I don't. that doesn't
Casey
sound
isn't
believable.
trolling you.
I'm not literally. Just go back and watch the episode.
Metaphorically, it's a literal dragon.
Aurelia is literally about to get shot by a dragon next turn.
That's disingenuous, but you are about to get shot.
Timur did say that something was coming around the corner, and you were the last turn to go. So don't worry, I spent a key point for patient defense. So you should be fine. The 8 kobolds, the likely green dragon, probably several more drakes. There's probably an entire tribe of dragon cultists that are about to come around the corner. It's all going to be fine. It's not...
Watch this entire episode.
It's not like the party is super spread out and you're way ahead of everyone. I tried to play as true to character as I could.
That is very in character.
So this would be fine. You have all your hit points and one less key point. You'll be fine. If you want to see how fucked she really is, tune in on Thursdays at 7:30 Eastern Time, and you'll see. Thank you for watching. And now, finally, we can do our sign-off line that everybody has now had time to think about. Until next time...
Wait, I have one more announcement.
Wait, I have one. Wait, do you actually have an announcement, or are we?
No.
Okay. Until next time. Wait, I have one more announcement.